Chapter 51. Luo World, energy of higher quality than soul power. Could it be divine power? This guess surprised Bai Luo. How is it possible? During this period, people who appeared in the far north possessed divine power. Well, Bai Luo didn't do too much research on the Luo world, so he couldn't guess the old man's identity. A soul beast that transformed into a human. However, the old man was now looking at Bai Luo and the three Erqui women standing beside him. In the old man's eyes, Bai Luo was no different from a human being, with no special features on his body. But the horns on the heads of the three women of Ergilong are definitely not something that humans can possess. When did 100,000-year-old soul beast like you appear in the far north? The golden blue light in the old man's eyes became brighter and brighter, especially with the appearance of Bai Luo and others, which made him feel vaguely dissatisfied that the plan was out of control. Forget it, I will capture you first and then interrogate you in detail. Hey? 550. The old man's words stunned Bai Luo. What the hell? Just by meeting and talking to each other for a few words, they were forcibly defined as transformed soul beasts? The soul beasts in the Luo world can transform into humans after more than 200,000 years of cultivation. The transformation here does not mean abandoning cultivation and becoming a human like a transformed soul beast, but a change in appearance, walking in a human posture. The old man obviously regarded Bai Luo and the others as this situation. Tisk. Shen was unhappy with the old man's tone. Master, can I kill this guy? This time, Bai Luo did not say anything to stop him. Because even Bai Luo was somewhat dissatisfied with the old man's attitude. This attitude, as if they have already taken advantage of it, is really unpleasant. Presumptuous. The old man was enraged by Ziwan's words. A mere soul beast dared to speak to him like that. It was simply seeking death. Boom. The old man flashed and arrived in front of Ziwan in the blink of an eye. At the same time, a giant hammer flashing with blue thunder was carrying tremendous power, as if it was going to smash Ziwan into a meat paste. Day. However, Shen's counterattack was no weaker than the old man's. The girl drew out the big knife from her back and held it across her body, easily blocking the old man's angry attack. What? Not only did the huge force fail to kill Ziwan, the old man only felt an overwhelming force surging from the front, forcing him to fly backwards. Drink. Ziwan's eyes narrowed, and she stepped forward with her sword, starting a fight with the old man. Neither of them used any special moves, it was just a pure collision of strength, which only caused the glaciers to shatter and gullies to appear on the ground. The huge noise spread in all directions, alarming countless powerful soul beasts living in this far north. What a powerful force! Who is it? Beneath the glacier in the distance, a gigantic ice scorpion, completely green as if it were an emerald, turned its head in a human-like manner. She is none other than the Ice Emperor Scorpion, the second of the three great beasts of the far north. The Ice Emperor. This aura doesn't seem like that of a soul beast. Damn it! It's the damned human. If it's not a soul beast, then it's a soul master. When he thought of a soul master breaking into the core area of the far north and causing such a big commotion, how could Ice Emperor bear it any longer? He immediately rushed out of the nest and rushed towards Fanghui where Ziwan was fighting with the old man. To soul beasts, humans are mortal enemies. Now they have even entered their own territory and are fighting openly. This is no longer a simple provocation, but a blatant declaration of war. Even if it is to defend the territory and the dignity of the ferocious beasts, the Ice Emperor has to go there and bury all these uninvited guests who are seeking their own death. A hammer with thunder and lightning. Could it be the Clear Sky Hammer? People from Haoshan sect. The old man's strength is by no means comparable to that of an ordinary titled Luo. According to Bai Luo's estimation, Ziwan, who is bound by the rules of the world, can at most inflict nuclear-like destruction on Luo continent. Such power has even surpassed the ultimate Luo and reached the demigod realm in this world. This is still sealed. Once Shen completely liberates herself regardless of the world's rejection, even a first-level god will fall under her sword. To be able to fight Ziwan to this extent, the opponent must be a demigod-level soul master. But, does the Haoshan sect have such a strong person? Tang Chen during the first period of the Luo? Or the Great Ming and the Second Ming during the second period of the Luo? Bai Luo had some guesses about the old man's identity, but a better way was to identify him directly. It was not used before out of courtesy. Identification is not a very advanced skill, and it is not silent or invisible. If you rashly detect others, once you are discovered, it will inevitably be seen as a provocation, leading to conflict. But now, the old man has started fighting with Ziwan, so Bai Luo naturally has nothing to worry about. Identification. Identification failed. Reason for failure: interference by special spiritual energy disturbed. The skill feedback surprised Bai Luo a little, and he immediately used the Dragon Eye, which had a stronger identification ability, to investigate again. Detection starts. Successfully eliminated interference, obtained the individual's real name Tang San. Tang San. Bai Luo's pupils shrank slightly. This result almost burned his CPU. No, Tang San is like this? Are you sure this is Doluo continent? No. Wrong. Bai Luo continued to use the Dragon's Eye to observe, and soon discovered that something was wrong with the old man. It's not Tang San himself. According to Bai Luo's investigation, although the old man is strong, he is only a level 99 extreme Doluo, not a demigod. The old man's condition is more like a puppet being manipulated. There is a more powerful consciousness in his body that is controlling him, and he is also the source of the divine power. Dragon Eye. Then, Bai Luo threw an appraisal at the soul guide in the old man's left hand. Level 9 Soul Guidance Device, conferred God Platform 100,000-year Soul Beast Embryo, Snow Emperor, Good Fellow. Bai Luo finally sorted out his thoughts. Now is the period of Doluo Dolu 2, unrivaled Tang sect. The Snow Queen transformed, but was discovered by a human spirit master, who captured her using the level 9 conferred God platform. This is the plot that Huo Guo encountered in the Xingluo auction in the original novel. This matter was actually planned by Tang San behind the scenes. When reading the original novel, Bai Luo felt that the plot was unreasonable. The Snow Queen transformed in the core area of the far north, and the place she chose must be safe. But in this situation, a soul master happened to run nearby, and he happened to bring with him a conferred God platform that could seal soul beasts for 100,000 years. You know, only the top soul guides in the Sun Moon Empire can make a level 9 soul guide like the conferred God platform. A soul master with extraordinary strength happened to come to the safe zone she had chosen when he transformed in the snow, and happened to bring a level 9 conferred God platform with him. What is even more speechless is that this soul master did not use it himself, but instead sold the Snow Emperor's tens of millions of years old embryo. A 100,000-year embryo can allow a person to obtain a second martial soul. Even if this is not possible, you can still obtain a 100,000-year soul bone. Such a treasure, someone would actually sell it. It just happened to be placed in front of the Minged Hall of the Sun Moon Empire, clearly telling the other party that there was a traitor in the Sun Moon Empire. Although this incident later caused conflicts between the Benti sect and the Minged Hall. But spending such a huge price just to have the two sides fight is too extravagant. Chapter 52. Tisk. The feelings were created by Tang San himself. If things are explained this way, then all unreasonable things can be explained. After all, this was the Tang Divine King and the Tang family's back garden. What could possibly be hidden from him? No wonder Tang San reacted like this when he met Ziwan and others. The appearance of these four people was obviously beyond Tang San's expectations. They were unstable factors that were not part of his long-term plan and must be eliminated. B. Can you defeat Meishan? Bai Luo has almost figured out Tang San's background. This guy's true form is a divine king. Even though the rules of the Doluo world are relatively weak, the dragon god of this world, if placed in the Axis world, might only be at the level of an awakened demon king. But that is also the awakened demon king. The current Tang San is definitely not as good as the dragon god, and is barely at the same level as Clayman. Unless Bai Luo lets Ergui Yan risk being expelled and liberate his own power, it is possible for him to defeat the divine king Tang San. Even without the power to be released, Erguian would not be able to stay in the Doluo world for long. He would soon be expelled and blacklisted. With such a huge price, Bai Luo hesitated 24 whether to use it. While Bai Luo was considering, Tang San noticed Bai Luo's eyeing of the conferred God platform in his hand, and immediately put it into the soul guide that could store living things. Shuedi is a soul beast, but Doluo continent is his backyard. Every blade of grass and every soul beast here are Tang San's property. Tang San would never waste a powerful beast like the Snow Empress. He would use it to train the Son of Luck and help him make further progress. Shanae, go help Shen and take the ring from him. Robbery. Zhu Cai did not ask what the conferred God platform was. She would obey Bai Luo's orders unconditionally. So, following the close combat ability of Shen, Zhu Cai freely controlled various elements, while assisting Shen, she also looked for opportunities to cast magic to attack the old man possessed by Tang San's mind. The fight between the two women was totally inconsistent with the Soul Master system. This is like a soul skill with a shortcut key. No matter how continuously it is released, there will be intervals and freezes. But the two women's attacks had no such restrictions. Shen's attacks were extremely violent, and each strike was as powerful as a full-strength blow from a demigod. After adding dark magic power, even Tang San had to avoid its edge. Not to mention Zhu Cai. The mage is originally an output profession. Zhu Cai, who is stronger than the one in the original book, stood behind Shen and directly transformed into a turret with unlimited firepower. After a while, Tang San was beaten into a mess and fled in panic. Damn it! Where did these two women come from? Tang San, who was in the god realm, was using his divine sense to spy on the battle in the far north. As he was being watched by the god of destruction, he couldn't take action himself. It is already the limit to separate a ray of divine consciousness and control the old man, allowing him to exert combat power comparable to that of a demigod. However, whether it is Shana or Shen, they are not weaker than demigods in their sealed state, and are even stronger than them. 2 against 1, Tang San's puppet is already in danger. These people cannot be the soul masters and soul beasts of Doluo continent. Tang San knew Doluo continent very well. He even knew the Silver Dragon King hidden under the Star Do Great Forest. He even started planning and scheming the power of the Dragon God early on. But Bai Luo and his 4 companions were undoubtedly outsiders. Chance. Just when Tang San was distracted, Zhu Cai seized the opportunity and quickly performed space operations, successfully cutting off the hand of Tang San wearing the storage soul guide. Ah! The connection of divine thoughts and the pain of a severed hand were also felt by Tang San, who was in the divine realm. Damn it! Martial soul true body! Ring explosion! Seeing that his puppet was at a disadvantage, Tang San no longer hid and directly detonated all the soul power stored in the old man's body. Black, 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 red, red, 9 soul rings emerged from behind the old man. I got the stuff. Looking at the storage soul guide that Zhu Cai had sent to him, Bai Luo ignored the space and directly took out the conferred god platform stored in it. If it wasn't to prevent Tang San from destroying the conferred god platform, Bai Luo wouldn't have made so much trouble. Deal with him. Bo. As soon as he finished speaking, the evil spirit who was originally standing in front of Bai Luo disappeared without a trace. Bai Luo did not take the mere demigod strength seriously. Besides, only a fool would wait for the enemy to read the bar. The ring explosion is indeed very powerful, but will Bai Luo give Tang San such a chance? Ah! In the divine realm, Tang San, who was controlling the clear sky hammer and preparing to use his martial soul's true body and then begin to crush his soul ring, suddenly felt a sharp pain in his head. Looking at the battlefield again, Ergilong was holding a thorny vine stick that was dripping blood. Behind her, a headless corpse was lying in a pool of blood. It was the demigod old man controlled by Tang San. If Shen and Shana were equivalent to first-level gods who could only use the power of demigods, then Ergian, she is a restricted god king in Doluo continent. The power it can unleash is even more powerful than that of Emperor Tian. Kill a mere demigod in seconds, no pressure at all. Lord Bai Luo. Shen and Shana were dissatisfied that they had no rivals and were snatched away by Ergui, so the 3 women returned to Bai Luo and looked at the conferred god platform in his hand. What's this? What we gained from this trip? Bai Luo thought about what benefits he could get in Doluo continent. Is it an awakened martial soul 230 or a soul ring or soul bone, or some rare treasure? No, neither. Bai Luo's growth path has been clear from beginning to end. That is to capture a powerful being, make it one's own follower, and then bring it back to the Axis world. The Axis world will compensate the opponent according to the strength of his soul and his own uniqueness, and grant him race, magic elements and unique skills. Looking at the Doluo continent, the only things that Bai Luo is interested in are the ferocious beasts. As for soul masters, gods, and the like, Bai Luo had no interest in this. When humans arrive in the axial world, they are still humans and lack the potential for evolution. On the contrary, the soul sleeping inside the 100,000-year-old embryo in Bai Luo's hand is one of the top soul beasts in the entire Doluo series. No, whether the Ice and Snow Girl is considered a soul beast is another matter. Bai Luo felt that Xuede was more like an elf from the Axis world. Similar to Ifrit, the upper-level fire spirit of the Rimuru family. The explosive ruler, who possesses the power to burn everything, is second only to the elf king among the fire elves. Let's talk to her first. Bai Luo actually has some confidence in defeating Xue Di. As Bai Luo probed his spiritual power into the conferred god platform, he saw a tall girl curled up in this space that looked like a golden birdcage. Chapter 53. Who are you? The girl had long white hair that fell all the way to her feet. Feeling the outsider's surveillance, she opened her eyes. Those beautiful ice blue eyes were ethereal and clear, as if they could see through everything in the world. Her slender body was flawless, and although the white dress had no decoration at all, it made her look so noble and stunning. My name is Bai Luo, and I'm the one who saved you from the evil God King. Evil, God King. Although Xue Di was sealed, she could not easily sense the outside world. But Tang San's battle with Zhu Cai and Zi Yuan was so fierce just now that even the sealed Snow Empress noticed the movement outside. So Xue Di did not doubt Bai Luo's words. She just didn't understand what Bai Luo meant by the God King. Do you remember the group of soul masters who ascended to the divine realm 10,000 years ago? Bai Luo quickly thought about Tang San, how he treated Doluo continent as his back garden, and how he was planning on using her as a chess piece. Gala Lala, the more Xue Di listened, the more he couldn't suppress the anger in his heart. Although it was a spiritual space, the power of the Snow Emperor still affected this place. A large amount of ice crystals began to spread, and even cracks appeared faintly in the space. She did not suspect that Bai Luo was deceiving her. First, it is crucial to understand that Bai Luo is not human. The monsters in the Axis world are different from the soul beasts in the Doluo world. Xue Di is sure that Bai Luo is not of the same kind as herself. But at the same time, Bai Luo is not human either. That's enough. As long as they are not human, Xue Di will have absolute malice. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Xue Di's logic is very simple. Thanks. The ice and snow girl who has dominated the far north for hundreds of thousands of years now thanks Bai Luo. If this matter were to spread, it would surely shock countless soul beasts. But Bai Luo deserves Xue Di's thanks. If you really want to thank me, why don't you come with me? With you? Xue Di didn't understand what the other party meant. Did he want her to follow him and become his subordinate? In the world of soul beasts, the strong are respected. Xue Di attaches great importance to dignity and would never submit to others. But Bai Luo saved her life. As a reward, Xue Di could accept doing something for Bai Luo. I will not be inferior to others. After Xue Di finished speaking, he quickly added, but if there is anything you need me to do, I am willing to help you. She was indirectly telling Bai Luo that she was willing to do things for him to repay him for saving her life. And in my current state, if you have anything to say, please wait until I finish my transformation. Xue Di was also helpless about the soul beast's transformation. She was not sure she could survive the 700,000 year catastrophe, so she could only choose to transform and rebuild herself to try her luck at becoming a god. Inexplicably, Xue Di began to doubt whether she could really help Bai Luo with her own strength. No, not for me. Just when Xue Di was confused, Bai Luo said, leave this world with me and go to a wider world. Leave this world. Bai Luo's words went beyond Xue Di's expectations, can you take me away from this world? That's right. After reading the original novel, Bai Luo knew that Doluo continent was a huge cage for soul beasts. The Snow Emperor's lifespan was already short, otherwise he would not have chosen to transform into a human in order to fight for the chance of becoming a god. However, Bai Luo has a ready-made solution. As long as she leaves the Doluo world, Xue Di will be able to break free from the shackles and have a new future. So, here comes the question. Can Bai Luo take Xue Di across the world? The answer is no. Without becoming Bai Luo's follower, Xue Di cannot leave Doluo world. If she wants to leave, she can only become Bai Luo's person. In other words, you want me to become your follower, just like those who just fought with Tang San. That's right. Bai Luo said, don't worry, I won't force you to do anything you don't want to do. You can understand the relationship between my family and me as a community of honor and disgrace. If you become stronger, I will also become stronger. On the other hand, the stronger I am, the more you will get. In the Doluo continent during this period, there was no such concept as souls and wisdom soul rings, at least Xue Di had never heard of them. Obviously, following Bai Luo is much better than becoming someone else's spirit ring or spirit bone, or dying directly at the hands of God. However, Xuede has her own pride. She felt that transforming into a human, and then obtaining a divine position and ascending to become a god like Tang San did many years ago, was also a way. Ascend to become a god? Oh, forget it. However, Bai Luo poured cold water on Xuede. You don't really think that someone can ascend to the god realm from Doluo continent under Tang San's surveillance, do you? No one in a higher position would allow someone to get out of control and start his own business with just a few resources. Unless Xuede becomes Tang San's dog, Tang San will never allow such a powerful person to appear in Doluo continent. Tang San. Xuede has a cold and arrogant personality, but that doesn't mean she is stupid. On the contrary, Xuede is very smart and she can fully understand what Bai Luo means. With the God King Tang above her head, no matter how confident or talented she is, she cannot escape the fate of being plotted against to death. Just like the confinement left by the Dragon God, let's not talk about its original intention for now. However, due to the calculations of the gods in the divine world, this restriction that prevented him from becoming a god directly harmed countless soul beasts and also cut off the Snow Emperor's path to ascension. So, as long as you leave Doluo continent, the thunder tribulation that binds you will disappear. If you don't want to follow me, I can also take you to other planes and help you break through. Bai Luo is serious. Anyway, even if Xuede breaks free from her shackles and becomes a god in some other dimension, Bai Luo will still have the opportunity to subdue her and make her his follower. But in this case, the favor Xuede owed would be too great. Xuede has a cold and arrogant personality, but that doesn't mean she has no feelings or doesn't know how to be grateful. By the way, following me is better than following someone like Tang San, right? Bai Luo does have some confidence. He is not like Tang San, who says one thing in public and another in private. Bai Luo has always been generous to his family. If they have something to eat, they won't be left hungry. That's right, Bai Luo is very good. Ergui's consciousness also came into play, forming a cute girl's phantom beside Bai Luo. Yes. Shen and I are just ordinary big ghosts in the forest, but Lord Bai Luo has given us powerful strength. Zhu Cai also showed up, and now they had to step forward to persuade the new partners to join. Chapter 54. What's the point of this world being so weak? Following the boss, I will definitely meet many strong people in the future. Ziwan's words touched Xuede's heart. Fighting with them and becoming stronger, isn't this much better than being trapped in a small world? Yes, Shen and the others are right. The three people's gratitude and love for Bai Luo are from the bottom of their hearts, and this cannot be false. The most important thing is that you can become stronger by following Bai Luo. Just based on this point, Xuede felt that she had no reason to refuse. I can promise you that. But I also have a few conditions. If you can guarantee it, I am willing to fight alongside you and never betray you. Xuede is a person who sticks to one thing and sticks to it. Once you make a decision, you won't regret it. And Bai Luo has given her great respect. She is just an embryo now. With the strength of Bai Luo and others, there is no need to say so much if they want to enslave and control her. Self-destruction only works when the difference in strength is not too big. And what about Bai Luo and others? Xuede had a feeling that Bai Luo had the power to control her by force. He didn't need it because he wanted to gain his true heart, and he was a slave whose appearance and heart were not in harmony. Just for this reason, Xuede developed a great liking for 210 Bai Luo. Well, you go ahead. First, you can't force me to do something I don't want to do. That's no problem. Second, I hope to return to this world in the future. At this point, Xuede's voice was faintly chilling. I want revenge on Tang San and those high and mighty gods. Captured like a plaything. Xuede absolutely cannot tolerate such humiliation. She wants to become stronger, and then return to Doluo world to make those high and mighty gods, especially Tang San, pay the price. Even if you don't tell me about this, I will help you. As long as Xuede becomes his follower, he will be his own. Bai Luo will help her bear the hatred of Xuede. What's more, Bai Luo doesn't like Tang San very much. If there is a chance in the future, Bai Luo would not mind directly conquering the Doluo universe and turning it into a part of the Axis world. Good. Seeing Bai Luo's agreement, Xuede heaved a sigh of relief and became more and more satisfied with the new master. What should I do to become the dependent you mentioned? Sedge, just relax. When Bai Luo saw that Xuede recognized him, he did not hesitate and quickly used his ability as a captor on her. This is Xuede faintly heard a question asking her if she was willing to become Bai Luo's dependent. The captor can capture by force, or he can gently interrogate the person like this. I do. Xuede has made a decision, so she will not be suspicious. She is willing to trust Bai Luo once. If I were cheated, I couldn't blame anyone else. I could only blame her for being too naive and blind. You won't regret it. Bai Luo's transformation of Xuede's followers went very smoothly. In the absence of resistance, the contact between the two sides was like a natural process. Cultivate yourself in my spiritual world for a while. Bai Luo opened the conferred god platform, released the Snow Queen from it, and then used magic power to stabilize its form. The light blue magic power turned into a trickle, nourishing the damage Xuede suffered from the interruption of her transformation. The specific transformation can only be completed after Bai Luo brings Xuede back to the Axis world and uses the power of the rules there. Thanks. Xuede did not hesitate and immediately entered Bai Luo's body. The family contract allowed Bai Luo to accept Xuede with confidence, and the latter also learned about Bai Luo's origins and some of his thoughts from this oath. He did not deceive himself. The relationship between the followers and the master is like that of companions and family members who share will and woe. He would not harm or enslave her. And she will protect him and fight for him with all her heart. Master Bai Luo, where are we going next? Continue to explore this world, asked China. No. Bai Luo raised his head, his tone a little serious. We can't come to this world again in the short term. Before the three women could ask the reason, an invisible and intangible pressure descended from the sky and enveloped everyone in an instant. This is. Judging from its size alone, this pressure is no weaker than that of a special A-level monster, but it is still lacking in quality. It's Tang San. In the spiritual world, Xuede's voice rang in Bai Luo's ears. He has been staring at this world. The facts were before her eyes, and Xuede no longer had any doubts. If Bai Luo hadn't appeared, she could imagine her future, which would definitely end with her being plotted against by Tang San. Let's go back. Bai Luo didn't intend to confront Tang San head-on. It's no big deal to beat Tang San alone, but if the five great gods join forces, it will be a bit troublesome. It is said that it is never too late for a gentleman to take revenge, not to mention that in this operation, Bai Luo took full advantage. The old man's death was equivalent to Tang San losing a puppet that he could directly control, greatly reducing his ability to interfere with Luo continent. Taking Xuede away gave Bai Luo an extra powerful follower whose qualifications and potential were not inferior to Ergui Luo, or even superior to her. Traveler. Boom. Damn humans. Just as Bai Luo was about to start the traveler and return to the Axis world, a huge green monster broke through the ice from underground, bringing with it a rolling cold current and sweeping towards where Bai Luo and the others were standing. Bun. Ergian moved quickly and appeared in front of Bai Luo in a flash. Bo. The girl held both hands in front of her, and she tore the cold current formed by the extreme ice. She actually relied on brute force to block the fatal blow that the Ice Emperor had been accumulating for a long time. What? Bingdi's gem-like eyes froze for a moment, obviously not expecting his attack to be blocked. Still so relaxed and casual. Closet. At the first moment, Xuede recognized the identity of the Jade Ice Scorpion. It was one of her few friends in this far north, Bingdi. Tisk, this guy came at the wrong time. Because of Tang San's divine power lock, Bai Luo and others did not notice the approach of Ice Emperor. But in this way, Bai Luo fell into an embarrassing situation. He wants to take people back. So what about Ice Emperor? Leave her here? Bai Luo felt that if Tang San lost track of them, he would definitely take out his anger on Bingdi. Chapter 55. Owner. Xuede, who had already obtained information about the followers and travelers, naturally realized this. Can you take Binger with you? Although Xuede's voice was cold, Bai Luo could hear a hint of pleading in it. Given the relationship between the Ice and Snow Emperors, she didn't want to leave the Ice Emperor alone to face Tang San's wrath. But in this case, Bai Luo's only choice is to forcibly capture Bingdi and bring her back to the Axis world. All right. Bai Luo didn't think that Bingdi would waste one of his retainers' quota. The two Ice and Snow Emperors, or in other words, all ferocious beast-level soul beasts, can theoretically provide help to Bai Luo. The qualifications of Ice Emperor are definitely not as good as those of Snow Emperor, but at least Bai Luo will not be at a loss. Bang bang, control her. Bo. Upon hearing Bai Luo's fate, Ergui summoned the thorn vine stick without hesitation, and then before Bingdi could react, he smashed it on her head. Bun! The terrifying force came down like a mountain, and Bingdi felt as if the sky was falling and the earth was collapsing, and then he fainted. Captor, activate. For a being that has lost the ability to resist, the captor does not need to make any preparations. With a flash of light, the huge ice blue Emperor Scorpion disappeared into the giant pit, along with Bai Luo and the others. How is it possible? In the God realm, Tang San sat on the throne of the God King. A picture was floating in front of him, showing the place where Bai Luo and others had stood before. However, at this moment, the three areas are empty in the picture. Where? Space transfer? Or breath concealment? Tang San's divine sense continuously poured into the image, and then he conducted a carpet search of the entire far north, and spread it to even more distant places. Tang San. But soon, Tang San's actions were discovered. The god of destruction rushed in with anger, staring at Tang San with a gloomy face. What are you doing? Gods cannot interfere with the lower world. As a law enforcement god, do you want to break the law? X. Tang San was furious when his plan was ruined by Bai Luo. But the god of destruction came to question him. Destroy God King, you have already received your death. Unfortunately, Tang San has not yet fully mastered the power of the Shura god, and he is not sure of defeating the old God King of destruction. There was no other way, Tang San could only pretend to be friendly with the other party. You mean to say that there are evil gods from other planes that have entered Doluo continent? That's right. Tang San is worthy of being the pure and innocent Tang Buddha. In just a few words, he portrayed Bai Luo and others as evil people with ulterior motives. They coveted Doluo continent, and he just discovered this in advance and went to stop them. The god of destruction stared at Tang San. His compassionate look was too deceptive. Even the goddess of life who had been with him for countless tens of thousands of years now began to speak for Tang San. Not to mention the Doluo universe, the mutual suspicion and calculations between destruction and Tang San. Bai Luo successfully returned to the Axis world with the newly conquered Hyote and Swate, as well as Ryu, Shana, and Shen. Now start the transformation of dependence. Transformation completed. Individual name Snow Emperor obtains race Upper Ice Elf. Individual name Hyoi acquired race Insect Demon Tribe, Ice Scorpion type. New rules detected. Analysis started. Analysis successful. Get additional skill extreme attributes. The inherent skill Flame Body has been supplemented, and a new elemental type has been added. New energy has been detected. Analysis started. Analysis successful. New magic variant obtained. Start naming. Named successfully. Obtain soul power. Obtaining divine power. Because soul power and divine power are related to the soul master system, skills begin to merge. Fusion successful. Obtain new special skill God's Ring. Discover the new unique skill Sword Saint. Discover the new unique skill Nature. Discover a new unique skill Ice Prison. Obtain the soul master profession, which meets the conditions for obtaining the unique skill Spirit Master. Individual name Bai Luo successfully obtained the unique skill Spirit Master. Ah! Where is this place? Damn human, what on earth did you do to me? In the boundless pure white world, AQ version of Ice Emperor is furious. Bingdi remembered that not long ago, he suddenly attacked a human soul master, but was hit on the head by a green stick. What happened next, Bingdi had no idea. Bing Bing, stop making trouble. Suddenly, a cold female voice came from behind Bingdi. She turned around and saw a beautiful woman in an ice blue dress. Snow Emperor. Bingdi was delighted at first, but then fell into deep despair. Lien, have you also been captured by that hateful human? How so? The Bingdi obviously misunderstood something, and Swati shook her head helplessly. She comforted her good sister while explaining the current situation to her. When she heard that Tang San was monitoring Doluo continent, Snow Queen and even herself might be plotted against, Ice Queen directly cursed Tang San for being despicable. What happened next was somewhat beyond Bingdi's expectations. The demons from another world, the special oath of their family, have left the Doluo world, and have the possibility to continue to become stronger. All these things made Bingdi feel incredible. In other words, Shwedi, you have now become that person, Bai Luo's follower. It was hard for the Ice Emperor, the leader of the three fierce beasts in the far north, to accept that he would become someone else's follower. Dependence and the like, that sounds nice, but aren't they still slaves this week? Shwedi, do you really want to become a follower of that Bai Luo? Well, I've made up my mind. Shwedi has a cold personality, but she does not have the complicated thoughts like humans. Since she has said that she will follow Bai Luo, she will be loyal to him and will never betray him in this life. Besides, Binger, you are now actually Bai Luo's dependent. What? Hearing this, Bingdi's eyes widened. The Q version of the look, coupled with this shocked expression, is so cute. Even the Snow Emperor had the urge to hold the Ice Emperor in his arms and knead him. Chapter 56. The captor of Bai Luo can forcibly transform beings weaker than him into his followers. Theoretically speaking, Snow Emperor, like Ice Emperor, is far weaker than Bai Luo. If Bai Luo was more shameless, he would have deliberately enslaved the two sisters and made them sign various unequal treaties. Instead of being like now, Xue Di, in addition to fulfilling the obligations of a dependent, such as protecting Bai Luo, fighting for Bai Luo, and not betraying Bai Luo, can refuse some of Bai Luo's unreasonable requests. But, Bingdi is different. Because the situation was too urgent, Bai Luo hastily captured Bingdi by force. The result of this capture was that Bingdi signed the most demanding contract. Unable to resist Bai Luo, must obey all his orders. Even if Bai Luo asked Bingdi to become his Star Fury force, Bingdi had no right to resist. How can this be? Isn't this 910 too despicable? Bingdi felt like crying but had no tears. She almost understood everything. Bai Luo is not a human soul master and has no ill will towards their soul beasts. The Snow Queen's family oath is the best evidence. Originally, Bingdi had a chance to become a member of Bai Luo's family like Swati, instead of being unable to control her life and death like now. I'm sorry, but I have to use my discretion due to the emergency. I'm sorry to have to inconvenience you for a while, Bingdi. Bai Luo appeared beside the two sisters, and he didn't mind Bingdi's sudden attack. Soul beasts attack humans, and humans hunt soul beasts. This is a daily routine in Doluo continent, and there is nothing much to say. But now that Bingdi has become Bai Luo's third dependent from another world and has signed such a harsh contract, Bai Luo is a little embarrassed. The effectiveness of the contract is absolute, at least Bai Luo now has no ability to change it. Of course, as Bai Luo continued to break through, he became the awakened Demon King. By the time the unique skill is sublimated, Bai Luo will be able to control it perfectly, and then convert the slave contract into a reasonable dependent contract. Although the slave contract is useful, Bai Luo thinks it is a big pitfall. Forced slavery will create a rift between the dependents and the master. This is not conducive to the subsequent breakthrough of the followers. Fortunately, Bai Luo is not that kind of person and will not do whatever he wants to Bingdi. You are Bai Lu. When Bingdi saw Bai Luo appear, his first reaction was not to blame or scold him. The little Q version of Ice Emperor instinctively took a step back, but felt that it was not safe enough, so he hid directly behind Snow Emperor. Only then he dared to stick out half of his head and looked at Bai Luo timidly. Bai Luo knows Bingdi's current condition. The power of the slave contract made it impossible for Bingdi to disobey Bai Luo. In her eyes, Bai Luo was like an evil slave owner holding a whip. Just standing there would bring her great pressure and fear. All the bargaining and arrogance became a joke at this moment. I am actually afraid of this guy in front of me. Wow, what a humiliation. Bingdi wanted to fight against the trembling in her heart, but the power of the contract prevented her from doing anything to resist Bai Luo. Okay, Bing, Bai Luo is not that kind of person. He won't bully you. Well, let's get along, Hyote. Bai Luo smiled gently at Bingdi. He waved his hand, motioning Bingdi to come to him. He did not use the power of the contract, so even if Bingdi was unwilling, she could refuse. But how could the emperor succumb to the fear in his heart? She will face the abyss. So, when Bingdi held Bai Luo's hand, she truly felt the emotions from her master, which was a welcome and love from the heart. Perhaps this transformation of the family came too suddenly, and Bai Luo was caught off guard. But it had already happened, and Bai Luo regarded it as his fate with Bingdi. Don't you want to see your newfound power? Bai Luo touched Bingdi's soft little head and said with a smile, Bing is much stronger now than before. Hey! Perhaps the previous changes came too suddenly, and Bingdi did not investigate carefully. Now, after Bai Luo's reminder, Bingdi suddenly discovered the huge changes in himself. She first transformed herself from a Q version scorpion into a girl with long green hair. What's going on? Family contract? Axis world? Skills? So that's how it is, Bingdi was shocked by this sudden surprise. She never expected that happiness would come so suddenly. The surging energy in the body is called magic power. In terms of quality, soul power is not even worthy of magic power. Magic power is comparable to the divine power of the divine world. No wonder he's so strong. Bingdi thought of a possibility. Doesn't that mean that I am now actually equivalent to becoming a god? That's right, I think. Bai Luo looked at Xue Di, who was also carefully feeling the changes in herself. If you return to Doluo continent, you may not be able to defeat Tang San, but ordinary gods are definitely not your opponents. Not only are they no match, but if the two sisters join forces, they will be able to kill them all. Thinking of this, Bai Luo opened the attribute panel of Bingdi. Hyote race, insect demon clan, ice scorpion magical essence, 34,000, A-level intermediate, general skills, ice magic, ice and bug Pokemon magic inherent skills, ultimate attributes, ice body, full melee mastery, magic amplification, super speed regeneration additional skills, accelerated thinking, universal perception, ice and snow control, space manipulation, multiple barriers unique skill, extreme ice prison, creates a domain where the speed of material flow can be freely controlled. Exclusive skills, twin martial souls, eternal night shining sun, both are Bai Luo martial souls sharing life and death, and can fuse martial souls, special skills, magic solidification, God's ring, can store power in advance and cast God's rings, up to 10. When a God's ring is released during battle, a skill prepared in advance can be instantly used, resistance, physical attack ineffective, abnormal status ineffective, mental attack ineffective, natural influence 0.7 ineffective, holy magic attack resistance insect demon tribe, ice scorpion type. The Zerg are a race in the Axis world, but they are not real Zerg, but a variant of the elves. In other words, the demons are one of the products of the elves' fall. Similar to this are fairies, long-eared people and even goblins, which actually belong to this category. In terms of racial classification, Bingdi should be a fallen elf demon of the ice scorpion type. 34,000 magic points, almost the same as that of the other, both are at the middle level of A grade. A level is based on magic element, 10,000 30,000 is the beginner level, 30,000 60,000 is the intermediate level, 60,000 90,000 is the advanced level, 90,000 100,000 is the peak level, which is equivalent to Quasi Special A, Quasi Disaster. Hyote's potential is online, and should be similar to that of Urki. Has the qualifications to evolve into a holy demon spirit. Chapter 57. General skills, Ice Magic, Ice and Bug Pokemon Magic Ice Magic, probably a mixture of the abilities from the Ice Emperor Soul Beast period, and the elemental magic I got from me. Iceworm Dual Type Pokemon Magic. Bai Luo was not surprised by this. It seemed that his followers could awaken Pokemon moves from the 18 attributes according to their own compatibility. Well, this place is called Pokemon Magic. The names are different, but they are not the same. Inherent skills, ultimate attributes, ice body, full melee mastery, magic amplification, super speed regeneration. There is nothing much to say about the inherent skills. The last three all come from Bai Luo. Extreme attributes. I remember the voice of the world mentioned earlier that new rules have been discovered. Bai Luo remembered that the ultimate attribute of Doluo continent should mean that a certain attribute has reached its peak, and it is also a symbol of talent. However, after the transformation of the base Axis world, the ultimate attributes have undergone certain changes. Generally speaking, the ultimate attribute is equivalent to a passive ability, which can amplify the same attribute and greatly restrain other attributes. In this regard, Bai Luo can only say that it is pretty good, but that's all. After all, it's just Doluo continent. Even if the attributes there reach the extreme of 24, how strong can it be? Compared to the ultimate attribute, this icy body is more interesting. To put it simply, Hyote's icy body is a bit like Aokiji's freezing fruit in one piece, but with elemental fat. This makes Ice Emperor immune to almost all general skills, and also has great resistance to most additional skills of a physical nature. If you want to defeat Ice Emperor, you must at least use magic or rule level additional skills. Otherwise, the Ice Emperor, who possesses the bug-like elemental ability of Ice Body, is invincible. Of course, it's just pure magic crushing. For example, if Milim casts a devastating magic cannon, then even if he has an ice body, the Ice Emperor will be killed by one cannon. In the Axis world, magic is not absolute, but it is really overbearing. The saying one force can defeat 10 skills is exactly what this situation means. Additional skills, accelerated thinking, universal perception, ice and snow control, space manipulation, multiple barriers. Most of the abilities are inherited, and I also gained the ability to control ice and snow. What Bai Luo is really looking forward to is what unique skills Bingdi will acquire. The unique skill, the Arctic Ice Prison, reminded Bai Luo of Chloe's infinite prison in the original novel, which was the trick used to seal the storm dragon Veldora. But this one from Bingdi is a low-end version. According to Purity, unique skills of the ability system such as the Arctic Ice Prison should be classified as lower rarity. But this ability, Bai Luo felt that this unique skill was very strong, extremely strong, and its future potential was no less than Chloe's infinite prison. The two are of the same type, both have the ability to seal, confine, and control. Once it is unleashed, challenging opponents of higher levels will be a piece of cake. Exclusive skill, Twin Martial Souls, Eternal Night Shining Sun. Special skills, Magic Solidification, Inheritable, God's Ring, not inheritable, Twin Martial Souls? Martial Soul Fusion Technique. No, it's not a Martial Soul Fusion Technique. Bai Luo carefully analyzes this exclusive skill. Unique, exclusive, and special, these three types of skills cannot be copied or taken away and have strong independence. In essence, all three were unique skills, but because it was impossible to accurately determine them, they were classified in more detail by Voice of the World. Twin Martial Souls, Eternal Night Shining Sun, can be used in two ways. The first is that the power of the two Emperors of Ice and Snow resonates, and then the Ice Emperor takes the lead and instantly explodes with an attack that is enough to rival the level of the Demon King. The destructive power at the Demon King level is terrifying. But what really interests Bai Luo is the second usage of Eternal Night Shining Sunday. That is to let the Ice Emperor and the Snow Emperor possess Bai Luo at the same time, so that Bai Luo can break through a major realm in a short period of time and fight with a new attitude. So, this is actually a transformation skill? Similar to spirit possession. Well, it is worthy of being a power system from Doluo continent, it does have the characteristics of that place. No wonder they are called twin martial spirits. If you really count it, Bai Luo is also a soul master, and a soul master with two martial souls, the Ice Emperor Scorpion and Ice and Snow. Finally, Bai Luo turned his attention to the special skill brought by Bingdi. The reason why special skills are special is because they are different from the basic Axis world. If Bai Luo had to describe it, it was probably fragments from another world, which were forcibly loaded into the skill system by the Voice of the World through Bai Luo. Star particle manipulation is the root of the base Axis world. Magic solidification is the integration and sublimation of the skill tree in the Seeking world. The same is true of the Ring of God today. The characteristics of Doluo world are that soul masters have soul rings and gods have god rings. Not to mention soul rings for now, the maximum number of divine rings one can have is 9, which means one is the supreme god king. However, the maximum number of Bai Luo's divine rings is 10. This means that Bai Luo can store 10 skills in advance, and then release them instantly at the critical moment without any cooldown or delay. What a magical skill! This God's Ring is simply a divine skill. You know, the storage limit of the God Ring is linked to Bai Luo's tolerance limit of 663. Like the maximum explosion magic used in the previous battle with the insect monster, Bai Luo could prepare 10 in advance. As long as he has free time, he can store things in it. Not only that, the magic ring can also store magic power and any energy that Bai Luo can control. Skills, energy. Bai Luo didn't know what to say. This special skill was simply a magical combat skill. The only problem is that the Ring of God seems to be unique to Doluo's followers. Bai Luo cannot pass it on to his followers such as Ergui Luo, or other named monsters through other means. Magic solidification. The magic essence of the omnipotent oil is solidified. I, Bai Loxi, call you a model worker. Magic solidification is a special skill, so it cannot be simulated or copied by outsiders, which establishes its patentability. However, the solidification of magic element allows Bai Luo to spread it freely among his own people. From the dependents to the named monsters. This greatly enhanced the overall quality of Bai Luo's followers. After all, magic essence is equivalent to physical strength and mental strength. Improving magic essence is equivalent to improving everything. It looks like there's nothing special about the magic solidification, but it can cultivate a bunch of numerical monsters. Possessing the existence of solidified magic essence, if the magic essence reaches a certain level, one can even be immune to most mechanisms. Because magic itself is a skill. Chapter 58. Train yourself to the extreme, and then reach the pinnacle. Bai Luo discovered that special skills were the greatest benefit he gained from crossing countless worlds, and they were also the capital he used to challenge the Axis world and other worlds. What the hell are these? Good, so strong. Bingdi was stunned by the attribute panel that appeared in front of her. She had never thought that transforming into someone else's follower would have such a big improvement. Arrogance is relative, and so is honesty. In the world of soul beasts, the strong are respected and the fittest survive. In the original novel, the Ice Emperor accepted the lobbying of the Tianmeng Ice Silkworm and became Huo Yuhao's second martial soul in order to survive. The Ice Emperor is now in the same situation where he is about to face a heavenly calamity and then die. In times like this, it's not a big deal to just become someone else's dependent in order to survive, right? At the end of Doluo Dolu 2, to put it bluntly, the Ice Emperor and the Snow Emperor just became the divine beasts beside Huo Yuhao. It seems good, but in fact it is still a pet of humans and gods, and its life and death are not controlled by humans. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you, Master. Bingdi called him Master without any reservation. If people knew that becoming a follower of Bai Luo could bring about such earth-shaking changes, there would be countless soul beasts in the entire Doluo continent who would rack their brains for it. Hyote paid the price of his freedom. But compared to a bright future and continuing to live, what's the big deal about this price? The only difference is whether you can follow the right master. But as it stands now, Bingdi and Swaiti are undoubtedly lucky, as they met a generous and humane master. Master. Shwedi nodded, and she also saw her own attribute column. It is indeed inappropriate to call the master by his name, so I will also call him master from now on. Actually there's no need. Bai Luo originally wanted the two women to call him Bai Luo directly, but seeing their firm attitude, he said nothing more. Dependents and masters. This was supposed to be a deal. However, Hyote and Swabi really won. Some people may think that Bai Luo also benefited. But in the eyes of Bingdi and Swaiti, Bai Luo has countless choices, and they only have this one chance to follow Bai Luo. They are lucky, much luckier than other soul beasts on Doluo continent. From now on, please let me and Bing Bing serve you to repay your life-saving grace. Bingdi nodded obediently. Even her elder sister said so, so as a younger sister, of course she should just follow. All right. Bai Luo looked at Shwedi and asked, Shwedi, what do you think? Very strong. On the Snow Queen's cold and beautiful face, a smile appeared, like the melting winter snow. Perhaps, now the strongest person under the master's command is me. Snow Emperor race, Upper Ice Elf Magic Element, 86,000, A-level High Level, General Skills, Ice Magic, Ice and Fairy Pokemon Magic Inherent Skills, Ice and Snow Body, Full Sword Mastery, Full Melee Mastery, Magic Amplification, Super Speed Regeneration Additional Skills, Ultimate Attributes, Accelerated Thinking, Universal Perception, Ice and Snow Control, Space Manipulation, Multiple Barriers Unique Skills, Sword Saint, possessing the pinnacle of swordsmanship and martial arts, Nature, Kin. Absorb external magic elements, create natural substances, and derive them to obtain a new state, exclusive skills, Twin Martial Souls, Cold and Desolate Empress, both of them are Bai Luo martial souls, twins born from the same bud, and can fuse their martial souls. Special skills, Magic Solidification, God's Ring Resistance, Physical Attack Ineffective, Abnormal Status Ineffective, Mental Attack Ineffective, Natural Influence Ineffective, Holy Magic Attack Resistance 86,000 Magic Points. Sword Master and Nature, 2 unique skills. They also have the unique skill Twin Martial Spirits, but the name is different. This exclusive skill, led by the Snow Empress and integrated with the power of the Ice Empress, will allow her to break through to a new realm, that is, the state of Cold and Desolate Empress. However, this transformation will greatly consume Shwedi's magic power, so it cannot last long and can only be used once at a critical moment. In addition, Bai Luo can also enter this state when he is possessed by a martial spirit. To be precise, these two exclusive skills are the same. With Snow Empress as the main character, she transformed into the Cold and Desolate Empress. Use Ice Emperor as the main force and use Eternal Night of Sunday. When Bai Luo uses it, he first transforms, and his title changes from Empress to Lord of Frost and Desolate, and then he has the qualifications to use the 10 ultimate destructions of Eternal Night and Shining Sunday. Whether it's the Snow Emperor or the Ice Emperor, the fusion of their powers has flaws. Only by merging with me can you demonstrate the power of this exclusive skill. You know, after the martial spirit possesses the body, the magic elements of the three people are superimposed together. After the magic elements are superimposed, except for the inability to change qualitatively, the beauty is simply the numerical value. Just the current three people, once they use the martial spirit possession, their magic power will increase to more than 200,000. This is already the level of the Demon King. In other words, Bai Luo truly possesses the strength to compete with the Demon King. Swati, the unique skill of the Sword Saint. Bai Luo, you also know swordsmanship. It's more than just swordsmanship. Without waiting for the Snow Queen to speak, the Ice Queen with the innate snow-blowing holy body said excitedly, the Snow Queen is an expert in both swords and palms, and is the pride of our far north. Of the Shwedi was not being modest at all. She nodded very naturally, indicating that it was just as Bing Di said. The soul masters in Doluo continent use soul skills, and the soul beasts are actually similar, with only a few tricks. As for Snow Empress, she started from herself and created the three wonders of Snow Empress. Emperor Sword, Unparalleled Ice, Emperor Palm, Great Cold Without Snow, Good Money, Emperor Cold Sky, Snow Dances in the Sunday. The three are sword skills, fists and palms, and domains. The swordsman of the Axis world is not just good at swordsmanship, it also includes swordsmanship, knife skills, gun skills, and even close combat. The unique skill of the sword master is usually given to those who have reached the pinnacle of martial arts and skills. Shwedi lived for 700,000 years. At this age, it is natural to eat very juicy food. But time will not change. Shwedi has indeed lived for such a long time, and has used such a long time to improve his skills to the extreme. Imagine if a strong man who has practiced his skills for 700,000 years came to the Axis world. According to the World Voice, is there anyone who can compete with her for the title of Sword Saint? The answer is obvious, no. In this way, Shwedi won the title without any pressure and obtained the unique skill Sword Saint. Chapter 59. As expected of the Snow Emperor. Bai Luo was impressed by Shwedi's excellence. What is this natural world? A skill that transforms magic power into existing matter. This skill is somewhat similar to Rimuru's analysis and creation, but also has certain differences. The biggest difference is that Shwedi's creations are not a transformation of form, but something created out of nothing. For example, Rimuru eats minerals and herbs, and then directly creates weapons and potions. Shwedi can do such a thing. Not only that, Shwedi can also use magic to create various minerals and plants. As Shwedi gains control over the natural world, she can even synthesize life, such as monsters and beasts. Isn't this the same as the creator? There are differences. Shwedi shook her head slightly and said, this skill cannot create souls. If used to create life, plants would be the best, followed by ordinary animals with low IQs such as pigs, dogs, cows, and sheep. If a monster is to be created, the monster's soul must come from the outside world, and the monster's potential is related to the strength of the infused soul. The potential and qualifications of the Axis world mainly depend on the strength of the soul. The stronger the soul, the higher the upper limit of the skills it can carry. I see. Bai Luo praised, that's amazing too. With you, Shwedi, we will never lack resources again. Magic power is equal to 0.43 materials, and materials can be used for development. No wonder it is called nature. Shwedi alone can support Bai Luo's entire family, and there is a promising future ahead. Bai Luo race, Dragon Demon, Fake, Level, Advanced A, 87000 EP, Occupation, Magician General Skills, Life Magic, Healing Magic, Elemental Magic, Pokemon Magic, etc. Inherent Skills, Adaptability, All Professional Mastery Additional Skills, Dragon Eye, Explosion Magic, Soul Summoning, Human Soul Integration Unique Skills, Traveler Breakthrough, Leader, Captor, Learner, Spirit Master, can transform followers into spirits and gain spirit space, Special Skills, Magic Solidification, Inheritable, Star Particle Manipulation, Not Inheritable, God's 10 Rings, Not Inheritable, Exclusive Skills, Twin Martial Souls, Cold Desolate Overlord, possessing 2 Martial Souls, Snow Emperor and Ice Emperor, which can be possessed or directly summoned, Dependence, Eruption, Snow Emperor, Hyote, 3/6, Benimaru, Shana, Shan, Sui, 4/6, Marked Worlds, Pokemon World, Cooling Down, Sucking World, Cooling Down, Doluo Universe, Blocked, Spirit Master, a new unique skill. Bai Luo was very happy that he had acquired a new unique skill. A spirit controller can bring his followers along in the form of souls, martial spirits, allowing them to live in the soul space. Bai Luo already had a similar space. But there is an essential difference between the spirit space and the soul space. The soul space is based on mental power. Here, Bai Luo can directly transform into anything and make the relatives who stay in it live comfortably. The spirit space can store matter and flesh, but it is too narrow and there is almost nothing inside. I wonder if I can combine these two skills together. In this way, matter and consciousness are combined to truly realize a small world that can be carried with you. However, this is not an easy task, and Bai Luo has no idea at all. As for the fact that the Doluo universe was blocked and inaccessible, Bai Luo was not surprised. Tang San is the law enforcement god of Doluo God realm after all. He has great power and can cause the world rules to be vigilant. Bai Luo thinks it is reasonable. Bai Luo said he didn't care about this. Doluo is now in the peerless Tang sect period, no matter how much Tang San practices, it will only be so-so. Bai Luo's speed of becoming stronger was beyond Tang San's imagination. And when he can forcibly break the blockade of the Doluo universe, Bai Luo will find Tang San and have a good chat with him about what happened today. At the same time, in the east of the Jura Forest, an ancient castle exuding an aura of Kixi was located on the cliff. The plan failed. Failure, the pleasure clown Laplace reported the latest information from the forest. A little girl named Tia raised her hands, spun around, and repeated Laplace's words with a laugh. Snort. Footman said in a muffled voice, those bugs really can't do anything. It's just a batch of failed modifications. I didn't expect much from them, did I? In the main seat, there was a tall man. He has silver white hair, red pupils, 2 gold edges on his forehead, and an evil smile on the corners of his mouth while he speaks, making him look particularly weird. This person is none other than Clayman, one of the 10 great demon lords, also known as the Puppet Master. At the same time, he is also the mastermind behind the insect monster chaos in the forest. However, it is somewhat unpleasant to have the plan ruined. Clayman looked at Laplace and asked, have you found out who did it? A new guy, his name seems to be Bai Luo. Bai Luo. Clement shook the red wine glass in his hand and took a sip nonchalantly, I haven't heard of him. He must be another little person who ran out from a corner. Don't be careless, Clement. Laplace looked a little serious, that guy is very strange. Not only did he defeat the bugs you transformed, he also subdued the ghost tribe in the forest. Can you actually subdue that ghost tribe? Tia, amazing. Ghost tribe. Clyman was still dismissive, they are just a bunch of big idiots with muscles growing on their brains. The B-level demon tribe only had 300 members, so Clement didn't take them seriously at all. I will have Grumid notify the Pighead tribe to advance towards the ghost tribe's village. In Clement's opinion, the Pighead Emperor, who has reached the special A level, is fully capable of overcoming everything in the Jura Forest. Pig-headed Emperor. That guy gives people a scary feeling. With the Pighead Emperor, the new guys that appear will be eliminated quickly, right? How pitiful. He just mastered the power of the ghost tribe and is about to die. In the eyes of the clowns, it was just a village of ghosts. How could it be able to stop the pig-headed seat? Then let's continue to monitor the forest, Clement. Ah, I leave it to you. Watching the clowns leave, Clement drank the drink in his hand. Clement was unable to personally take action on the matter of the Jura Forest. That forest is the territory of the Storm Dragon. Other demon kings would not enter rashly unless it was necessary. According to Clement's plan, he would send out the demon Grumid to name the monsters in the forest, and thus, through this superior subordinate relationship, he would gradually erode the territory belonging to the Storm Dragon. What Clement did not expect was that among the pigmen, there actually appeared a pig-headed emperor, a rare sight in hundreds of years. The pig-head emperor possesses the power to devour everything and can quickly increase his magic power by constantly eating. If the pig-head emperor could become the demon king, then with him, the power of the 2 demon kings will completely surpass the other 10 demon kings. Yes, at this moment, Clayman had no idea how huge the gap between the so-called demon king and the real demon king was. In Clayman's opinion, even the oldest demon lords Guy and Milim Even if these two people are stronger than him, they are not much stronger. If one demon king can't be defeated, what about two? 2 against 1, is it still not enough to occupy a place among the top 10 demon kings? A new guy who came out of nowhere. Standing up, Clayman came to the French window, then looked at his own reflection in front of him and smiled evilly. Cherish this short and beautiful time, and soon you will know the cruelty of this world. Chapter 60. As the sun sets, its afterglow falls on the countryside. The golden light interweaves with the new green on the ridges, creating a tranquil and harmonious picture. The smoke from the wooden house rose up and blended into the gradually darkening sky, as if it was the most natural connection between heaven and earth. Bo-ne 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 hum. The girl in a straw hat rolled up her trouser legs, stepped on the wet paddy field, bent down and inserted the rice seedlings into the mud. Ergian hummed a tune that no one could understand, and at the same time released green grass from his body, using grass magic to nourish the fields and seedlings, allowing them to thrive better. Next to the girl, a group of strong and sturdy ghosts were planting seedlings in an orderly manner. The fields were reclaimed and not only rice seedlings were planted, but also vegetables, melons, and fruits. The Axis world also has a variety of crops, including those unique to the other world and plant seeds from the blue planet. Because of the existence of skills, creating crops, changing genes, breeding varieties, etc. are much simpler than on Blue Star. This makes the biodiversity of the Axis world far more comprehensive than what is described in the original book. Hwalala in front of the wooden house, a small river gurgles, the sound of water is crisp, echoing with the sound of farming in the fields in the distance, creating a tranquility of pastoral life. This stream, about 4 or 5 meters wide, was specially opened up by Hung Guan and his men. The demons planted many cherry and peach trees by the river. When the wind blew, the pink and white petals fell like snow, making the village a paradise in the Jura Forest. How do you feel? Bai Luo sat by the river, holding a fishing rod in his hand, leisurely waiting for the fish to bite. Very good, I like this world. Xuedi stood behind Bai Luo. She glanced at Bing Di who was playing with the children of the great ghost clan not far away and said, I haven't seen Bing Bing so happy for a long time. Although Bing Di seems aloof, he actually has a childish nature, just like Ergian. Ergian is a good kid. Not long after he met Bing Di, the two became good friends. Oh, and let's add another one, Aster. The three of them were like naughty tomboys, and under the leadership of Ziwan, they often went to the forest to harm those brainless monsters. Of course, this is a good thing. There is no end to the monsters. As long as there is magic in this world, if a group of magic beasts are killed, new ones will be born soon. Unlike soul beasts, Warcraft is no different from resources in the basic Axis world. Monsters hunt monsters, and human adventurers also hunt monsters. Warcraft, when can we stand up? Unfortunately, Warcraft can't stand up. Because Warcraft lacks something necessary for evolution, that is, the soul. The reason why Bai Luo did not subdue the monsters was because the monsters lacked souls and they were unable to provide Bai Luo's magic garden. I've been learning management from Ms. Shina recently. Xuedi positions herself as Bai Luo's deputy. If you want to be a good deputy, both wisdom and strength are essential. She didn't like being inferior to others, but she didn't want to leave Bai Luo, so she chose the position of deputy. Moreover, if I cannot continue to become stronger after seeing the new world, Bai Luo's good intentions would be wasted. Xuedi will never let go of this hard-won opportunity easily. Also, Mr. Bai is very powerful. His swordsmanship has benefited me a lot. After returning to the Axis world, Xuedi began to establish his own prestige. The first thing she did was to defeat the entire demon clan, just like Ergui, including Bai Luo's followers such as Hung Guan and Shen. Bai Luo's subordinates include Ergilong and Bingdi, because they are rivals of Xuedi. Even Egian, facing the completely liberated posture of Empress Han Huang, had to avoid the Snow Empress's attack and rely on delaying time to consume the Snow Empress. However, Xuedi would never give Ergui Yan such an opportunity. Perhaps at the beginning, Xuedi did not understand Ergui's ability and suffered a great loss. But since then, in the battles between Xuedi and Ergui Yan, the latter never gained an advantage again. Bai Luo could only say that the Sword Saint's unique ability really brought a lot of help to Xuedi. And there's Yan Yan. She's made rapid progress recently. Half a month has passed since returning to the base Axis world. During the past half month, the development of the big ghost village has been booming, and the tribesmen who had been out on hired missions have also returned. The return of new members naturally brought more magic to Bai Luo. The growth of Ergilong is still Bai Luo's most important means of obtaining magic, without a doubt. However, now that Ergiluo has reached rank A, if he wants to gain experience points, his opponent must be above rank B. In the entire Jura Forest, B-level monsters are rare, and most of them are still in the maze that seals the Storm Dragon. Bai Luo has no intention of dealing with the Storm Dragon for the time being. The Dragon Demon race made Bai Luo prepare to develop in a low-key manner and try his best not to be discovered by those dragon species. Seeking flowers. 0 This decision has slowed down the efficiency of eruption in harvesting experience. After half a month, Ergui's magic power barely reached 48,000. However, Bai Luo's magic element, because of the improvement of Ergilong, officially broke through the 90,000 mark and entered the peak of A level. Let's go, Shweder. Bai Luo put the things into the space, then called Shwedi and said, let's start today's training. Shwedi hurried to catch up. She would train Bai Luo's combat skills every day and help him become familiar with various powers. Bai Luo's magic element is huge and the value is also high. However, Bai Luo's combination of various skills and on-the-spot performance are not excellent. Obviously, he had such a powerful force, but Bai Luo could only exert less than 5% of it. Of course, Shwedi could see that Bai Luo was not bad at fighting. Bai Luo definitely has a talent for fighting. The only thing Bai Luo lacks is experience. Soon after, Bai Luo and Emperor Wen returned to the wooden house where they lived. The two did not go to the arena specially built in the village. Because it's not necessary. With the spiritual world of soul space, they can completely simulate consciousness. Hey! Not far away, Hyote, who was about to go play with Ergui, suddenly stopped and asked, is it starting again? Just right, let me see the master's progress. Bingdi separated a part of his mind and used it to control his body to walk towards the field ridge area, while putting more energy into the battle in the soul space. Shana and others took the same action as her. Except for the Ice Emperor and the Snow Emperor who are permanently stationed there, other followers can enter the consciousness space in the form of souls as long as they get Bai Luo's permission. Such a good battle stage, not only Bai Luo, but other followers also like to apply for a duel and engage in actual combat exchanges. Over time, a combat power ranking list was created among the followers. Among the 7 followers, the one with the best record is undoubtedly Shwedi. The second is Ergian. Shen, Hyote, the battle records of the 3 are almost the same. Basically, if you lose a game today, you can win it back tomorrow. Hongwan's unique skills are more legion-oriented, so he is one step behind the 2 women. Sui and Shana, one of them is more inclined to assassination, and the other is a priest. They really can't beat those battle maniacs head-on. Chapter 61. Is Lord Bai Luo going to fight Miss Shwedi again? Sui and Benimaru were busy with other things, so they didn't watch the battle. Zhu Cai and the others stayed in the village, and even if they divided their attention, it would not affect their daily activities. I don't know how long Lord Bai Luo can hold out this time. Ziwan is convinced by Shwedi, but she will not slack off when it comes to necessary challenges. Ziwan would never give up the position of Bai Luo's personal attendant easily. Master Bai Luo has worked very hard, and he is getting stronger every time. Zhu Cai began to cheer for Bai Luo. What's more, Master Bai Luo didn't even use his full strength. In this simulated battle, Bai Luo can be said to be using his own weaknesses to challenge Shwedi's strengths. In the real battle, Bai Luo should be standing at the rear of the artillery. Under the absolute firepower output, any technique seems so fancy. 400 Of course, because it is a competition and training, Bai Luo will not fight like this, but will use every ability he has now. Only by continuous use can you dig deeper and make yourself more perfect. Come on, Bai Luo. As expected of Bai Luo's little cotton-padded jacket, Ergian had changed his clothes at some point, and was now holding up a sign that read Bai Luo will win and cheering. The good thing about the soul space is that everything is simulated. Come on Shweder. Beat him up. Ergirong feels that Hyote has been letting himself go lately. Fortunately, Bai Luo doesn't care about these things. There's nothing we can do about it, it's because Bingdi was captured by Mingxing. This debt made Bai Luo extra tolerant towards Bingdi, just thinking of her as a naughty sister playing with her brother. Let me be the referee. Old Bai brushed his beard and walked forward, standing to one side of the battle circle. Sorry to trouble you again, Mr. Bai. It is a great pleasure for me to see such a wonderful battle. As old Bai said this, the space between his eyebrows slowly cracked, revealing a vertical pupil. This is exactly what the old man relies on to act as a referee. The eye in the sky. Are you ready, master? Xuedi is a good teacher. Whether she is teaching Bai Luo moves or finding his shortcomings, she is so professional. Bai Luo was very fortunate to have such an excellent family. Come on, Xuer. I'll try to hold on a little longer this time. Bai Luo's answer made Xuedi very satisfied. She raised her hand, and a large amount of ice elements gathered around her. The two men limited their strength within a certain range and engaged in a battle of purest skills. Emperor's Palm, Great Cold and No Snow. A big move right at the start. Bai Luo watched Xuedi raise his hand and push it forward lightly. Xuedi's movements were very slow, but in the eyes of everyone, this palm strike was so fast, as if the entire process from raising the hand to striking out the palm had been completed in the blink of an eye. Is there any progress? Old Bai, who was watching the battle, raised his eyebrows slightly, shocked by Xuedi's amazing understanding. Oops, can't get away. This palm strike may seem ordinary, but it actually involves the use of multiple abilities. The surrounding space is covered by an invisible film, and the flow and changes of all things are still at this moment because of the extreme low temperature. The principle of this move is very similar to Astetha's Mokabatmo and Akatsuki. Both of them indirectly achieve the effect of time standing still by freezing matter. The flaw of the Emperor's palm is that it must hit the enemy. Fortunately, Bai Luo has extraordinary thinking. Even if the matter is still, the soul still exists. So he can still think. Being able to think means that the monster's skills are not sealed. There are still more to fight. However, just as Bai Luo was about to fight back, an invisible force lightly landed on his heart. Bai Luo felt a chill spreading from the bottom of his heart to his entire body. Due to the master-servant relationship, Xuedi cannot cause any harm to Bai Luo. But if this move were to happen to someone else, even if they didn't die, they would definitely be seriously injured. Snow Emperor, bandit. At the same time, Bai Luo, the referee, immediately announced the result of the fight. Hey! Bai Luo was stunned for a moment, then immediately reacted. He looked at Xuedi with surprise and asked, Xuedi, you're great cold and snowless, does that mean you don't need to come into contact with the enemy anymore? In such a short period of time, Xuedi perfected all of her 3 unique skills one after another. Originally only applicable to short-distance severe cold and snowlessness, direct contact is no longer required. In this way, Xuedi has one more unexpected killing move, and her combat capability has been further improved. So powerful, there is absolutely no way to fight back. In the Axis world, magic has never been the key to determining strength. Some monsters, with only tens of thousands of magic power, can fight against tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of strong men. The best example is Bai in the original work. As for Xuedi, she is already the strongest fighter under Bai Luo. Even Ergian, in a one-on-one situation, can only rely on the advantage of the berserker to fight the opponent to death. Well done, Xuei. Hit him, hit him. Although the audience around did not understand it, they were also shocked. Especially a girl with emerald hair, she almost shouted herself hoarse, wishing she could go into battle and punch Bai Luo herself. This guy Bingdi. Bai Luo's mouth twitched slightly, and he secretly decided that he would beat this guyza to pieces after the training was over. Don't mess around, Binger. Snow Emperor glanced at Ice Emperor and was quite troubled by this. Who asked Bingdi to be forcibly captured by Bai Luo? Although he has already accepted Bai Luo as his master in his heart, Bingdi is a person who refuses to admit defeat. The Snow Emperor was really afraid that Bai Luo would lose control and turn the Ice Emperor into Star Fury. Xuedi, you are getting stronger so fast. In such a short time, he has completely adapted to the power system of the Axis world and developed new moves based on this. Bai Luo was not discouraged by losing to Xuedi. Rather, Bai Luo has been defeated by Xuedi dozens or even hundreds of times during this period of time, and has long been accustomed to it. Master, you are improving faster than I expected. Xuedi still cared about Bai Luo's face. She comforted him. In the beginning, I froze time and space, and people couldn't even react. After this period of training, the master can handle similar situations calmly when they occur again. Xuedi was not just talking about her tricks, but sudden assassination methods like freezing time and space. If it was Bai Luo at the beginning, faced with such a surprise attack, you will definitely be caught off guard. But now, Xue Di was fully confident that no matter how sudden the situation was, Bai Luo would be able to react instantly. And this is the real purpose of Swati. Chapter 62. You really have good intentions, Master Swati. Bai Luo sighed, what the Lord lacks is not the ability to fight the enemy, but the means to protect himself. With powerful followers like Swati, Bingdi and Peng Peng protecting him closely, Bai Luo actually has no lack of combat power. Sending out any one of them is equivalent to using a big move. They are Bai Luo's strength, so there is no need for him to take action personally. Thank you, Minister. Between you and me, there's no need to thank each other. Xue Di, come on, let's continue our training. Providing Bai Luo with the means to protect himself is what Xue Di needs most. On top of that, it is to stimulate Bai Luo's fighting potential, so that he is no longer a shortcoming, but the strongest in the team. As the master of her Snow Queen, how could Bai Luo be weaker than her? Having a sword but not using it and having no sword to use are two different concepts. Just because Bai Luo doesn't need to fight doesn't mean he can't fight. When the enemy finally broke through the interception of Xue Di, Peng Peng and others and finally came in front of Bai Luo, they found that he was the strongest. This is the ultimate goal of Xue Di, training Bai Luo's fighting skills and instincts. Good. Bai Luo did not refuse, and would not let Xue Di down. The battle ended, and Bai Luo still failed to defeat Xue Di. Bai Luo doesn't care about this. Before, Long was stronger than him, and now there is another Swati, so there is no difference. Bai Luo is not a masochist. You have free food to eat but you don't want to eat it, and you have to work hard on your own? Thank you for your hard work, Lord Bai Luo. Zhu Cai brought a food box filled with many dishes she made herself. The ingredients are wild game from the forest. After being cooked by Zhu Cai, they are extremely delicious. Even Bingdi and Swati, who have no interest in human food, like them very much. Where's Boergian came running towards me from a distance, jumping and skipping. Because she had just come out of the paddy field, the girl left muddy, black footprints behind her with every step she took. Ah! Wait, stop it now. Where's Bo? Really? How can you come into the house so dirty? Shanae stepped forward quickly and summoned a stream of water to wash Ergui's hands and feet. After spending some time together, the big ghosts in the village have become familiar with Ergui's personality and character. This is an innocent and kind little girl. In terms of strength, Long is indeed the best among the ghosts, but in terms of character, their tribe's mascot takes care of it. Especially Shana, the relationship between the two is as good as that of real sisters. Wash this foot too, and this side, Ming, it feels so good. Ergian didn't mind being treated as a child, and even treated Shana, who was good at taking care of people, as her sister. Thank you, Shana. Be more careful next time, you always pretend to be a doctor like this. Shana caressed her Ki's head lovingly and handed the specially made sandwich to the girl. Ergui took the sandwich, took a bite, and his eyes lit up immediately. Delicious. Well, this rice ball is also delicious. Ergire, but I still like curry rice. Okay, I'll make it for you next time. Oh. There are a lot of food in the basket, some Japanese and some Hyuxia. Zhu Cai likes to study these things on a daily basis, and Bai Luo's hobbies are what she focuses on studying. Although Shana is not very powerful in the original work, there is a reason why she is still the second in command under Rimuru. With the logistics and coordination capabilities of the butler and Zhu Cai in charge of the base camp, even if Bai Luo is not there, their base will not be in trouble. Gurgle gurgle. After dinner, Bai Luo drank the freshly squeezed juice from Zukai and looked at the prosperous and lively scene in the village, feeling calm in his heart. The Jura Forest is very vast and contains many beautiful places with pleasant scenery. The village of the Big Ghost tribe is located near mountains and rivers, and rarely has conflicts with the outside world. It is peaceful and tranquil here, very suitable for retirement. If you don't have the ability of a traveler, living in a large ghost village for a long time will sooner or later lose your fighting spirit. However, I can venture into other worlds. When you are tired from exploring, you can return to this village to recuperate and relax. Master Bai Luo, this is the subsequent construction plan for the village. Please take a look. In the morning, Bai Luo and Xue Di do morning exercises. Xianyu is responsible for handling official business. The content of the official business is not complicated, mostly about resource consumption, construction plans, directions and goals of external expansion, etc. Bai Luo doesn't need to think about the specific things. What he needs to do is to grasp the general direction. Tell me more specifically, Shana. Okay. Zhu Cai folded her hands and let them hang in front of her belly, then reported to Bai Luo the changes in the village over the past half-month. First is Peng Peng. Under her leadership, the monsters within a 50-kilometer radius have been completely eliminated. The remaining monsters have more or less some intelligence. According to your request, as long as intelligent monsters do not actively attack, they are qualified to survive on this land. Zhu Cai didn't understand, but she agreed with Bai Luo's idea from the bottom of her heart. Everyone has the right to survive. If you are strong, you should not kill the weak. Defeat the monsters, because the monsters are pure brainless monsters that cannot communicate at all. As long as the Warcraft can understand the meaning of the Great Ghost Clan, the two sides can coexist peacefully. In comparison, no matter how low the intelligence of monsters is, they will still abide by some basic rules. This has led to the development of a completely new ecosystem in the village, including the forests and fields within a radius of 50 miles. It's just that the village has reached its limit after developing to this point. Zhu Cai spread a map in front of Bai Luo. We, the Great Ghost Clan, are the most powerful group of monsters in this area. Further out, there are scattered goblin villages and some intelligent monsters. What we are going to discuss today is the problem of these goblins. How to deal with the goblins. Bai Luo remembered that in the original work, Rimuru was the first goblin in the forest to be conquered, and he also gave them names. Rimuru's magic element is backed up by the Storm Dragon, so even if it is used up, it will be replenished quickly. But Bai Luo doesn't have that confidence. His magic power is limited, and even if he gives names, he will only choose the most outstanding monsters with potential. However, this is only a matter of time. After all, giving a name to a monster can give Bai Luo more magic elements. As long as you are willing to join Bai Luo and become his people, it is only a matter of time before you are given a name. Chapter 63. How many goblins are there that can be recruited around here? Zhu Cai said, the goblin village closest to us probably only has a few dozen people. Is that all? I'm sorry, Lord Bai Luo. Zhu Cai said, we have too few people and the forest is too large to conduct a more accurate search. The Jura Forest in the original novel seems to be only that small. But only after traveling to this world did Bai Luo realize how vast the real Jura Forest was. Although it is called a big forest, in fact the landforms here are varied, including grasslands, swamps, lakes and hills. These areas are divided by dense forests, forming the monster circle of the Jura Forest. It's okay, you've done your best. Bai Luo naturally would not blame the loyal ghosts. I know what the goblin is talking about. When Bai Luo was thinking about how to better search for the tribe in the forest, a figure slowly emerged in front of Bai Luo and others. It was the tree elf Torni. Miss Taurine. Nearly a month has passed since the last time I saw Bai Luo perform explosive magic. During this period, Torni paid close attention to Bai Luo's movements. She would occasionally visit Bai Luo, who would warmly invite her to taste the village's delicacies. Tree elves are the guardians of the forest. With them, the forest can thrive. So there is no harm in getting along well with Torni. This is our new potato chips, please try it, Miss Taurine. Zhu Cai brought a bowl of freshly fried potato chips, which instantly attracted Torni's attention. Well, then I won't be polite. Snap! Torni held the potato chips in one hand and stroked her cheek with the other hand, her eyes full of enjoyment and intoxication. Ah, this food called potato chips is so delicious. Bai Luo doesn't quite understand Torni's love for potato chips. However, he had read the original novel and knew the plot of Torni the Potato Spirit, so he took out potato chips to cater to her taste. Needless to say, the effect was so good that Torni became completely addicted to potato chips. Bai Luo felt that after some time, he might even be able to transform the other party into a new dependent. Yes, it belongs to the category. Taurine and her sisters are the protectors of the Jura Forest. In the original novel, she finally followed the Fairy Queen. But this has not happened yet. Bai Luo has every chance to capture Taurine and bring the entire forest under his supervision. Unfortunately, now is not the time. In Bai Luo's opinion, it is not difficult to improve Torni's favorability. Even now, he still has a certain chance of getting the other party to agree to become his dependent. But the problem is that Torni's monster level is higher than that of Bai Luo today. Don't underestimate Taurine. Although the tree elf sister doesn't seem strong, her magic value is over 100,000. The captor cannot transform the existence of magic elements on Bai Luo into followers, which is also a major flaw of the captor. Miss Torni, are you willing to help us subdue the goblin population in the forest? I am always entertained by you, and occasionally I want to do something to repay you. Torni is very optimistic about Bai Luo. She thinks Bai Luo has a chance to unify the Jura Forest. The Storm Dragon is the lord of the forest, but he is sealed under the maze and rarely does anything. If a powerful monster could stand up and command the monsters in the forest, Taurine would not have to worry about external forces invading this land. Then Miss Torni has really helped us a lot. Zhu Cai asked, Miss Torni, do you know how many goblins are living in the forest now? I remember that goblins should be monsters that reproduce very quickly, Shen said. When I was a kid, there seemed to be a goblin disaster, where more than 5 million goblins were wreaking havoc in the forest. How many? This was the first time that Bai Luo knew this number. He could only say that he was indeed a goblin. But here comes the problem. Bai Luo didn't remember that there were so many goblins under Rimura's command. In the original work, Rimura seemed to have conquered a goblin village, which had only about 60 or 70 goblins in total. Even if we count the goblins that surrendered later, the total number would not exceed 2,000. But according to Shanae, there are so many goblins that they can almost establish a country. Yes, that's true. Taurine, who was listening in, recalled, at that time, goblins were rampant and could be seen everywhere in the forest. They expanded recklessly, and eventually attracted a massive attack from human adventurers. It was because of that incident that the number of goblins dropped sharply, and a large number of them fled to the east forest. The east is safer. Bai Luo thought that the goblins in the forest had emigrated, which was why there were only so few goblins under Rimura's command. It's ridiculous that the most common goblins in the Japanese alien world couldn't even outnumber the pig-headed people. Taurine shook her head and said, the goblins who went to the east were basically wiped out. Soon, Bai Luo learned the reason from Zhu Cai. The Great Jura Forest was considered to be the territory of the storm dragon Veldora, and the demon kingdom to the east, the western kingdoms, and the northern empire all tacitly agreed to this. There are a large number of monsters and demons in the forest, and many countries will fight against the demons living on the edge of the forest. During the goblin infestation, the northern empire and the western kingdoms worked together to drive them back into the forest. They thought they would be safe as long as they stayed away from humans. However, the 3 demon kings in the east also looked down on this group of weak goblins, Wang Qunhao, and carried out a large-scale purge against them. As of now, only the central area of the forest is left, and the number of goblins still living there is estimated to be no more than 30,000. Normally speaking, there wouldn't be only that many goblins in the Jura Forest as in the original book. Otherwise, wouldn't human adventurers be unable to receive commissions to subjugate goblins? But the situation at that time was rather special. The breath of the storm dragon disappeared, and the monsters in the forest lost their restraint and began to devour each other. It's not surprising that the number of weak monsters like goblins has dropped sharply from tens of thousands to around 2,000. Will the goblins never become extinct? No. It's very difficult to truly exterminate monsters, said Torni. The monster factor will not disappear because of the extinction of a certain race. Even if all the goblins in the world are killed, new goblins may still be born in the future. Chapter 64. In addition, the voice of the world will also balance it, Torni said. When they are almost unable to survive, the goblins of the entire world will be blessed. This blessing is not limited to one place, but goblins all over the world will rise up at the same time. Weak monsters will multiply in large numbers in the magic tide. Powerful monsters will give birth to a king that is rarely seen in a century. Torni picked up the last potato chip, stuffed it into her mouth, and a happy smile appeared on her face. Perhaps this is the kindness of the world. The tree elf girl drank her tea and said with emotion, whenever a race falls into a trough, there will be hope for rise. So, goblins seem to be suitable for breeding. When the number of goblins increases, Bai Luo will control them all at once. He can't even imagine the magic energy that millions of goblins can bring. He will become rich immediately. However, Torni seemed to see through Bai Luo's thoughts and poured cold water on him. The total amount of souls is limited. As a tree elf, many things in the forest could not be hidden from Torni's eyes. Bai Luo's rise was too fast. Torni 410 had already figured out the method. Only Torni didn't hate Bai Luo. Her responsibility is to protect the ecology of the forest, and having a like-minded ally can enhance the cohesion of the Jura Forest every day. Does the total amount of souls have anything to do with race? Yes. Taurine said, all monsters have an invisible racial existence value. Racial potential comes from the soul. As the leader of Bai Luo, he essentially shares the soul energy of his followers, allowing him to grow stronger quickly. However, the existence value of the goblin group has a certain upper limit. The upper limit is fixed, and the more there are, the lower the quality of each goblin will be. Therefore, it is better to do what Rimuru did, when there are only a few thousand goblins left in the forest, and then subdue them, so that they can all evolve into big goblins at once. Millions, or even tens of millions of luck, are concentrated on thousands of goblins. In terms of individual quality, almost every one of them is 1 in 1,000, or even 1 in 10,000. The greater the number of a particular race, the lower the potential of its individuals. The number of your great demon clan is around 300, which is actually a good number, said Torni. If the number continues to grow, the great demon clan will no longer have the power of the strongest monster group in the forest. This. After hearing the secrets revealed by Torni, the big demons present, such as Shana and Shan, all gasped. According to Ms. Torni, isn't the upper limit of each race already determined? Yes and no. Torni paused for a moment and gave Bai Luo a look. The latter understood what he meant and immediately asked someone to bring more potato chips. This made Torni very satisfied, and she secretly thought that Bai Luo was a good lord who understood people's hearts. Her early investment was not in vain. The highest level of racial existence can reach a. Torni picked up the potato chip and snapped it. Anything above that can only be an individual. Once he becomes an individual, he will not be restricted by race, but the race will be proud of him. When a certain monster group gives birth to a monster species, the existence value of the group will be increased. If the voice of the world is compared to the way of heaven, then the process of monsters breaking through racial restrictions and becoming demon kings is like a road to heaven. The predecessors left a path for the later generations to walk more easily. As for weak monsters like goblins, there has never been an example of a demon king. This means that it is extremely difficult for a goblin to evolve into a demon king. They have no one to refer to, so they can only rely on themselves. That's why goblins are so weak. If the goblin population develops well, there will inevitably be a large number of them, and the potential of each individual will be reduced. In that case, if a goblin wants to become king, he must first kill enough of his own kind. Numbers and individual strength. This fully demonstrates the advantages of rare races. So, bestowing a name is actually a way for the superior to help the weak. That's right. Torni nodded and said, there is no way, but if the strong people above are willing to help you, then things will become very simple. When a strong person does things, he doesn't need to follow rules. Because they themselves are the rules. In the original work, Rimuru suddenly transformed the remaining thousands of goblins into big goblins, which greatly increased the existence value of the race. The big goblins in the goblin village and other goblins in the base Axis world completed the cutting. The two no longer share the same racial presence value. How many goblins are there in the area west of the forest, near us? It was impossible for Bai Luo to cross most of the forest to look for scattered goblin villages in the south and north. Based on the principle of proximity, Bai Luo plans to take down the goblins in the west first. About 8,000. That's a lot. Bai Luo thinks this number is very good. He didn't like weak goblins, but big goblins, which were similar to the green-skinned orcs in World of Warcraft, were more acceptable. Miss Torni, can you take us to the goblin camp? At some point, Shanae brought over a large bag of potato chips as a thank you gift for Torni's help. Sure. A man who eats someone's food should be grateful, and a man who takes someone's favor should be lenient. Torni was completely controlled by Shanae. The team traveling this time was small in number, with Torni as the guide, and Bai Luo also sent out several ghosts who were named by Bai Luo. Leading the group is a shrine maiden named Sakurako. Sakurako has a gentle personality and has learned many ways of dealing with people from Shana. She is also equipped with an Onibaban and 2 members of the Red Demon clan who are good at close combat. 4 demons with the combat power of A-rank upper demons. With such combat power, before Bai Luo arrived, it would be enough to conquer the western forest, let alone surrender the goblins. Also setting off together were Hung Guan and Bai Lao's teams. Their goal is the mountain range where Tengu is located, to convey Bai Luo's friendly message there. If possible, Bai Luo would like to bring all the Tengu clan under his command to make up for the lack of air power. In this way, about 2 days passed. Lord Bai Luo. That night, Kan Jing suddenly contacted Bai Luo. Are you there yet, Sui? Bai Luo asked, what's the situation over there? It's a terrible situation. Kang Ai was sent by Bai Luo to investigate the situation of the pig-headed man. I remember that in the original plot, the pig-headed people could not get enough food, so their leader, the future pighead emperor, had to go out to look for hope. One thing is that the leader of the pighead tribe possessed the unique skill of the Hungry One before Grummet gave him the name. The Hungry were like a curse, causing the originally mild-tempered pig-headed people to have a sudden increase in appetite, eating up all the stored food, and even cannibalizing each other. Chapter 65. Just as you guessed before. Kan Jing stood on the cliff, looking at the barren land in the distance. Under the scorching sun, not a single blade of grass grew, there is nothing, no grass, no trees, all gone. It seems that it has been born, the Hungry One. Through this incident, Bai Luo almost determined the current time period. After Rimura's reincarnation, it took him several months to leave the labyrinth. After that, he successively subdued the goblins and the wolf species, and met Hung Guan and others whose villages were wiped out by the Zhongyang clown, and soon encountered the pig-headed army that had just attacked. Bai Luo feels that we are now about half a year into the plot. After all, the storm dragon is still there. However, considering that the insect monster was not mentioned in the original book, Bai Luo felt that he could not completely use the original book as a reference. In the real world, anything can trigger the butterfly effect. Bai Luo doesn't think the future will develop as described in novels. Sui. I'm here. Go to the lizardmen's territory, tell them about the changes in the pighead tribe, and then propose an alliance with us. Bai Luo wants to conquer all the monsters in the forest. Each of them is an important source of magic for Bai Luo, and he can't just let a large number of them die casually like in the original book. Yes, sir. After receiving the order, Kan Jing rushed towards the lizardman's base without any delay. It's a bit troublesome. After learning the current time period, Bai Luo felt a little distressed, and his expression was immediately noticed by Xue Di. Master, what's wrong? Bai Luo thought for a moment and told Xue Di what he knew. To put it simply, someone has formulated a conspiracy behind the scenes, and there is a group of very strong guys hiding in the dark. I am a little uneasy. Rimuru's first opponent, the villain in the early stage, and later one of the 1,000 great demon kings who was the unit of measurement of combat power. Even though this guy didn't have a good performance in the original book, he was easily dealt with by the cute king. But Clayman is still a demon king after all. The demon king here is not a truly awakened demon king. In the Axis world, if you are a demon king, and then you gain territory and have an army, you can call yourself a demon king. After that, through the demon king conference, as long as other demon kings do not object, you will become the demon king. Clayman, and the demon king, are they strong? Hearing that there were some powerful guys, Xue Di was tempted and wanted to fight with these strong men. Among the 10 great demon kings, there are 7 real demon kings. The remaining 3 are probably between demon king and true demon king, and Clayman is the weakest among them. Clayman's current Guangsu value is estimated to be around 40 million. The amount of magic elements is not everything, so even the current Bai Luo still has the possibility of fighting with Clayman. Xue Di and Gui Luo, the magic element of these 2 girls is A+, but when they really fight, ordinary special A level is no match for them. But this is clearly not enough. I'm not afraid of Clayman. I'm worried about the mediocre clown group behind him. Clayman belongs to the mediocre clown company and is the weakest member there. Except for him, every other clown has a fighting power that can rival the Demon King. To put it bluntly, if Bai Luo now faces any clown, he will be killed by the opponent. Fortunately, the clowns will not easily reveal their existence. After all, once a conflict breaks out between the 2 sides, the noise alone will be enough to attract the attention of other demon kings. Yuaki Kagurazaka would never jump out at a time like this. Each of them has the power of the demon king. Xue Di was a little surprised. She felt more and more that following Bai Luo was the best decision she had ever made. Interesting. There will be a chance. Bai Luo said, if it is impossible, I will mobilize travelers to take you to other worlds. With travelers as a backup, the worst outcome is that you will never run out of firewood. Wait until he becomes stronger with the help of the power of countless other worlds, and then come back for revenge. It seems that after arranging things here, it is time to start exploring the new world. It doesn't feel good to be targeted. Bai Luo hates those who hide in the dark and plot against others, even if they are not targeting us intentionally, since they are destined to be enemies, there is nothing to say. If Bai Luo wants to follow the path of the cute king, then the cute king's enemies will jump out sooner or later. Now, we have obtained the information about the Pighead tribe. Goblin, here, let Torni lead the way. On the goblin side, Bai Luo was not worried about the safety of Yingzi and the others. Taurine can summon the Elf King, so even if the clowns have really arrived at the Jura Forest, they dare not provoke her. I don't know what's going on with Hung Guan and Bai Lao. Bai Luo's knowledge of the Tengu clan in this world is limited. Tengu. Shuedi and Bing Di were quite interested in this. What is that? A flying dog? No. Zero Bai Luo explained, although it is called a heavenly dog, it is actually more like an angel with wings. Long ago, an angel descended upon a mutant individual of the mountain wolf tribe, thus giving birth to the Proboscis tribe. The Proboscis people here do not really have long noses. They like to wear a red long-nosed mask with white or black wings on the back. They are called the long-nosed tribe because of their arrogant character. 300 years ago, Feng, the patriarch of the Tengu clans, practiced swordsmanship with Beige under the tutelage of Huangsha Bei. The two fell in love and gave birth to a daughter, who was Hong Yi in the original novel. However, the gestation period of Tengu was extremely long. It took Bai Lao's wife 300 years to give birth to Hong Yi, and she passed on most of her magic essence to her. The more powerful the monsters in the Axis world are, the less likely they are to give birth to offspring. Because this is a huge harm to monsters. When giving birth to offspring, the offspring will inherit a large part of their parents' power. Even the former Star Dragon King fell because of this. The relationship between the Mountain Wolf Tengu clan and Bai Lao is clear. He can come forward and let Hung Guan arrange a marriage like in the novel. Bai Luo felt that there was great hope that he could gain the loyalty of the Mountain Wolf clan. At worst, I can just take over the conflict between the Tengu and Frey. Frey might be stronger than Clayman, but she is definitely not as strong as those clowns. Bai Luo was confident that he could tie the rope to a point where the Sky Queen Fulei could no longer circle him before she clashed with him. Chapter 66. The Tengu's territory is located near the Demon King Frey's country. Shuedi wrote down the map of the Axis world. It will probably take Bai Lao and the others a while to get there. It definitely won't be that fast. Then wait a little longer until the goblins surrender. Bai Luo also took advantage of this time to continue studying the abilities of the travelers. He discovered that the opening of the door to another world by the traveler was not completely random, but there were some operable parts involved. For example, Bai Luo does not use the traveler directly, but instead emits child element to capture the door to the world traveling in the void. During this process, Bai Luo can obtain some fragments of information and make a preliminary judgment on what kind of world is on the other side. In addition, this usage will not consume the traveler's shuttle opportunity. Bai Luo does not need to worry about being in danger and unable to use the traveler. That's great. Let me take a look at what the next world of 880 will be like. Bai Luo closed his eyes, and his consciousness was completely focused on the traveler's ability. The next moment, a large number of images flashed through his mind at an extremely fast speed. There was a world inhabited by countless monsters, as well as a universe with distorted rules. All kinds of information came flooding in, forcing Bai Luo to take the initiative to disconnect. Bai Luo opened his eyes and gasped for breath, with cold sweat on his forehead. Are you okay? Upon seeing this, Shuedi hurried forward to investigate. His condition was felt most vividly by his followers such as Bingdi and Ergian. Fortunately, Bai Luo replied that he was practicing, which calmed them down. I'm fine. Bai Luo smiled at Shuedi and said, I'm lucky. I managed to capture an interesting world. Interesting world? Not sure yet. The new world that Bai Luo discovered was somewhat special, it has a very strong protective wall. I can't enter it at will like I did in the previous worlds. There are 3 ways to contact this world, but the one to extradite Bai Luo is impossible. Just now, as soon as the traveler's ability came into contact with that side, the will of the world over there put up a violent resistance. Obviously, the other party is unwilling to have any interaction with outsiders and just wants to live his own life behind closed doors. It is also impossible to intervene by force. That world is huge. Bai Luo didn't know how big the other side was, but in terms of size, it was no less than the base Axis world. Therefore, it is very difficult to sneak in quietly like in Luo world. So there is only the second option. Bai Luo shook his head and said, if it is really what I think, it would be too dangerous to enter directly with my real body. So, we still have to use the second method, but in a safer way. A safer way. Xuede has received the information about the new world shared by Bai Luo. After learning about the situation over there, Xuede, like Bai Luo, did not dare to underestimate the enormity and danger of that world. What should I do? Remote projection. If it were any other world, remote projection would definitely not work. But in this new world, Bai Luo's travelers have a high probability of finding loopholes. I need to get ready. Not just me, but also you, Hyote, Tsubomi, Shana and the others. Bai Luo, I plan to bring everyone with me to fight this battle together. Interesting. Xuede realized what Bai Luo wanted to do, and she smiled and said, there should be many abilities in the new world that are suitable for you to acquire. Ah! Bai Luo, be patient and wait for an opportunity for us to come. Not to mention that Bai Luo was discussing with Xuede how to deal with the new alien world, the ghost team following Taurine had already arrived near the goblin village. The goblin settlement is not too far from the big demon village. With the speed of an A-level ghost, 1 day and 1 night is enough to cross half of the Jura Forest, not to mention it is just such a short distance. The group set out at noon and arrived at their destination in the evening. How terrible! Why would such a powerful demon come to our place? Is the village going to be destroyed? At this moment, in the village, a group of goblins, whose height was no different from that of human children, were holding short sticks and rusty short blades, and were staring at the machine and others who appeared with horror on their faces. You, who are you? Even though his body was shaking, the old goblin still asked, please don't hurt us. There is nothing in the village. If you need food, we will give it to you obediently. Is this the goblin's current situation? It's really desolate. To be honest, Sakurako felt very disappointed. The girl flicked her silver-white hair. Although she was dissatisfied, she still stepped forward and announced, I am a messenger from the ghost tribe. I have come here to convey the will of my master. If you are willing to submit to my lord, I will give you protection and food. X. The goblin village chief thought he had heard wrongly. He looked at his son, a skinny and childish goblin. What did she say? Surrender. Yes, I understand. There was a hint of excitement in his tone. She also said she could give us food and shelter. Is this true? Is there really anyone willing to shelter us? As for the ghost tribe, they are very powerful monsters. The goblins have no psychological pressure at all to submit to the strong. It is better to say that as long as someone is willing, the goblins will not refuse to submit to the other party. Unfortunately, no one looks down on goblins. Goblins are at the very bottom of the monster hierarchy, with their existence value being as low as less than 1,000. During the Great Outbreak, the existence value of a single goblin once exceeded 1,000, which was a large level. However, this was also the last glory of the goblins. Times have changed. Among the 8,000 goblins in Forest 5.5, the highest magic power is only about 500. 500 magic elements, definitely F level. An ordinary farmer can beat 4 or 5 of them without the help of weapons. What use is there for such a weak monster other than wasting food? Too weak. My lord is willing to protect such a weak guy. How kind of you is that? The 3 ghosts who came with Sakurako were impressed by Bai Luo's kindness, as he was willing to recruit even goblins. All right. Yingzi interrupted the 3 people and warned them, don't question the lord's decision. Yes. The 3 of them quickly bowed their heads and admitted their mistakes. Sakurako is the person in charge of this team. The 3 of them had a mission to protect Sakurako and the goblins and get them back to the village safely. Chapter 67. Miss Torny, please testify for us. Okay. The tree elf lady had been hiding aside, and when she appeared, the goblins suddenly broke into a riot. Monsters living in the Jura Forest, who has not heard the legend of the forest guardian tree elves? Now that I have seen it with my own eyes, I cannot describe how terrified I am. This feeling is like the mountain god you usually believe in suddenly appears. Have no doubts, goblins. Torny stepped forward and said, the ghost people have no ill intentions. They sincerely want to gain the loyalty of the goblins. A powerful demon was born in the forest. He decided to rule the forest and protect the monsters living in it. Don't worry, just join them. I can assure you on the reputation of the manager of the Jura Forest that I am telling you this. The goblins had been interested in joining the strong, and now with Taurine's guarantee, they were immediately excited. Very good. We also have protectors. Finally, I don't have to worry about being eaten by scary monsters in the wild anymore. Please come into the village, you great men of the ghost tribe. The goblins in the Axis world, at least the goblins in the forest, are not as evil and cunning as described in other worlds. Rather, they are very simple, even a little too simple. The goblins in the Axis world are the failures of the god ancestor. It is formed by the spirit that gains a physical form and degenerates into a monster, becoming a fairy and then transforming. Among them, the descendants of the earth attributed fairies became dwarves, the descendants of the water attributed fairies became mermen, and the descendants of the wind attributed fairies evolved into the long-eared people. The long-eared tribe here are actually the elves that often appear in Western fantasy. However, in the Axis world, elves generally refer to spiritual beings, rather than handsome men and beautiful women who live in the forest and are good at archery and magic. The long-eared people are not much stronger than dwarves and murlocs, and can be considered a relatively common subhuman race. As for goblins, they are the product of the continuous degeneration of fire attribute fairies and are considered the lowest level of fairies. All we can say is that the initial explosion completely exhausted the goblins' luck, leading to their current fate. Simple, poor, and backward. Walking into the goblin village, Sakurako saw primitiveness and desolation. Of all the subhuman races, goblins are definitely the worst off. The village chief presented food to entertain the ghosts who came from afar. These foods have no taste, not even salt, only the fruits and vegetables are edible. However, considering that we would become companions in the future, I ate some out of politeness. Bai Luo traveled through the world of Pokemon and Seeking, and brought back various supplies from there, which greatly improved the lives of the great demon tribe. Before this, the quality of life of the big ghost tribe was not much better than that of the goblins. At most, there will be more food. Sakurako and the others did not dislike the goblins' hospitality. The good life was given by Bai Luo and had nothing to do with their own efforts. When the goblins join Bai Luo, they will also be able to gain benefits. It is only a matter of time. This is our gift to the goblins. Please accept it. Sakurako took out a lot of supplies from her personal space and gave them to the goblins. This move really made the goblins flattered. Delicious food, seasonings, as well as clothes and shoes suitable for the goblins' bodies, these were all specially prepared by the ghost tribe during this period. As for its origin, it is also very simple. Zokai's analysts can structure matter and easily use existing materials to create a large number of daily necessities. Pack up your things and gather the tribesmen. Next, we will go to other villages and gather everyone together. 8,000 goblins, about 100 people in each village. There are more than 80 villages, and if Sakurako and her friends want to visit all of them, it will take at least a whole day. Fortunately, the goblin village is not far away. Some goblins with good relationships can even notify each other. The goblins acted quickly. Why would they delay when they had a powerful being willing to protect them? He immediately packed up his luggage as quickly as possible and got ready to go. Sakurako looked down on the messy goblin village. Although this area was the capital and center of the Rimura Demon Kingdom in the original work, it was essentially nothing special. Everything was built by Rimuru from scratch. The center of the future Demon Kingdom is in the Ghost Village. Right now there is a shortage of population, and the addition of 8,000 goblins can greatly increase the speed of development from villages to towns. Okay, please wait for a while, the elders of the Ghost Tribe. I will have people pack up the supplies immediately. Hurry up, don't keep the adults waiting. We'll get ready right away. The reactions of the goblin villages were similar. From the initial vigilance and suspicion to the excitement of receiving the gift, and the joy of being favored. Soon, led by the goblin village chiefs, a large number of goblins gathered on the grassland designated by Sakurako and the others. These should be all the goblin villages that can be found nearby. Let's go. Following Sakurako's order, the mighty goblin team, under the protection of the ghost tribe, headed towards the direction of the big ghost village. Because of the large number of people, the original half-day trip was extended to 3 days. During this period, Sakurako and other ghosts also need to protect the goblins. There were too many people, 8,000, almost 10,000. Even though the goblins were short in stature, these 8,000 people crowded together still formed a large black mass. In order to protect them, the ghosts dared not relax at all and always activated their magic perception to guard against dangerous monsters that might rush out of the forest. Oh my! It's really spectacular! Spectacular in the forest, 3 figures hiding in the dark had already noticed this scene. They are the members of the mediocre clown company, Laplace the pleasure clown, Footman the angry clown, and Tia the weeping clown. The 3 of them actually arrived at the forest early in the morning. However, the plan in the Jura Forest is now led by Clement, and they are just here to assist him. The bugs were conquered. Now even the forest managers have started helping him. I feel like he's going to be a pretty amazing guy. A demon who appeared out of nowhere and grew to his current level in just 1 month. Compared to Clement's carelessness, Laplace instinctively felt the threat. Chapter 68. Want to interfere? Laplace turned around, his eyes glittering with cunningness. It's those monsters around this guy. They don't look easy to deal with. We conquered the big ghost tribe before, and now we conquer the goblins. Although Footman is an angry clown, he is not actually manic. I always feel like he is planning something. You really won't interfere? If this continues, KCAI's plan will be unstoppable. Footman thought that he should test Bai Luo's strength, but Tia thought that he should be a little more cautious. It's so eye-catching. Tia fiddled with her long sleeves, her voice a little embarrassed. Will the Demon Kings find out? The 4 ghosts in front of him were not easy to deal with. If a fight breaks out, there will definitely be a huge noise. Not to mention that there is the tree elf Torny, they don't want to provoke such a being. Tell Clement about it and let him figure it out. The 3 of them didn't want to leave immediately, and the things happening in the Jura Forest were originally under the charge of Clement, who was put in the open by them. If anyone really needs to worry, it should be his turn. In that case, let's go find KCAI first. I wonder how he will deal with this sudden intruder. Just like that, the 3 clowns lurked silently in the shadows. They did not leave, but continued to pay attention to the team. Sakurako and the others who were on their way apparently did not realize that their actions had fallen into the sight of a certain demon king. Oh, the moonlight is like water, sprinkling on the vast grassland. The silver light and the dark green sea of grass interweave to create a mysterious tranquility. The night wind blows gently, the grass tips sway slightly, making a rustling sound, as if whispering the secrets of the grassland. Dozens of giant wolves were galloping across the grass, their figures looming, like ghosts in the moonlight. The commotion caused by the goblins' collective actions not only attracted the attention of the clowns, but also other monsters living in the forest. Among them is the Yalan tribe, who in the original work took the initiative to attack the goblin village in order to compete for forest hegemony. Wu on the raised hillside, a gigantic wolf howled towards the sky. Behind it, hundreds of wolves were quietly waiting for the Wolf King's order, whether to attack the group of goblins that left the village. Dad. The Garo who went out to search for goblin intelligence is back. It is the leader's son and the strongest among the young Garo. Have you found out why the goblins left the village? I smell a ghost. Ghost. When he heard the word ghost, leader Yalan immediately thought of the big ghost tribe in the forest. Those powerful lower-level demons with B-level strength are not comparable to these monsters with C-level evaluation. Despite the advantage in numbers, when it came to facing the great demon clan head-on, the Yalan leader also began to hesitate. Goblin, have you surrendered to the ghost tribe? We can't let them go to the village of the great ghost tribe. If we really enter the village, the big demon tribe is so strong, and they have goblins as soldiers. 1 + 1 is greater than 2, and this is definitely a huge obstacle to the rise of the Yalan tribe. During this period, the storm dragon had not yet disappeared, and the monsters in the forest had not started to kill each other. At Clement's request, the clowns began to disrupt the order of the forest. But it hasn't started yet. The number of the Yalan tribe is even larger than in the original novel, a total of 1,000 Yalans. With tacit cooperation, even if they forcibly attack the village of the big ghost tribe, they can still fight. Of course, they will definitely be the losers. If numbers are no longer a disadvantage for the ghost tribe, no tribe in the forest will be able to fight them. With this in mind, the wolf leader no longer hesitated and announced his decision: attack the goblins immediately. Well, Dad, what will happen if the ghosts find out? At worst, leave here. Go east. The Garo leader had a clear idea: if they could kill those goblins, the existence value of their Garo would definitely be raised to a higher level. At that time, as long as they migrate to the east, the ghosts are not good at tracking them and will not be able to cause them any trouble. So now is the best time. Every time you kill a goblin, you can loot one magic element. And this is the best way to improve your existence value to conquer the intelligent monsters in the forest. War between races. The winner is the king, the loser eats dust. This kind of improvement is not as abnormal as the growth of the eruption. But the difference between the two lies only in the length of time. The benefits of the Hellion are instant, while the racial horns will manifest slowly. The shortest is a few months, the longest is 2 to 3 years. As the leader of Garo, he led his people to exterminate the goblins in the forest. Garo even felt that he had a chance to gain a powerful skill. Extra skills are a guarantee, and with better luck, unique skills may also be possible. In the original novel, there were only 1 or 2,000 goblins left, largely due to the attacks by monster groups such as Garo. Such a good opportunity, absolutely can't be missed. The Yelan leader even felt that the scene before him was a godsend. The goblins were running around everywhere, and if they were eliminated at this time, it would not violate the rules set by the monsters. Do you feel it? A demon from the Onue Ban clan, with a black veil covering his face, his name is Sinan. He grew up with Sui and received ninja training together. With the help of thought connection, the 4 people can exchange information and make decisions in a very short time. Yingzi nodded and said, 3 kilometers behind us, there is a group of monsters with an average level of C or above, and they are gathering quickly. XXI. At least more than 500. What is it? Sakurako seldom leaves the village, so she doesn't know much about the outside world. Unlike King Ren, he had gone out with other tribesmen to carry out mercenary commissions, so he had come into contact with the Yelan tribe. Garo. The largest wolf pack in the forest. There is more than one tribe of wolves living in the entire Jura Forest, with their numbers ranging from 5 to 3 or 400. The group led by Chief Yelan seems to be the largest among them. What do they want to do? I think they've targeted the goblins we're escorting. King Ren was hiding in the darkness, quietly observing the group of hunters in the forest. A single Garo is no more than C rank. But if they gather together, their overall strength will continue to improve as their numbers increase. More than 500 wolves gathered together, and their average strength could even reach C and level. If the leader of the Garo wolf tribe really unifies the wolf tribe, and with the help of his achievements in exterminating the goblins, he might be able to create an army of 2 to 3,000 B-level Garo wolf troops. By then, even the former large ghost village would be caught in a difficult battle and at risk of falling. Chapter 69. Suddenly, Sakurako sensed that the wolf pack was splitting into 2 sides. Are these guys trying to outflank us? Red Flame, Red Moon. Leave it to us. The ghosts named Hongjian and Hongyu are both from the Red Ghost clan. They are brother and sister. The brother's name is Yan and the sister's name is Yu. In terms of blood relationship, the 2 are cousins of Hung Guan, so they joined their eldest cousin's team early and became members of the Red Demon clan. The howling of wolves came from all directions, which frightened the goblins on the road. The goblin village chief's already old body was shaking constantly, but he still tried to remain calm and comfort the tribesmen around him as much as possible, telling them not to be afraid. It's Garo. The village chief's son saw a figure running past in the darkness, and fear of wolves spread all over his body. Don't panic. Their village is closest to the Storm Dragon cave. The village chief is the oldest goblin and the first to surrender to Sakurako, so he was appointed by the demons as the temporary leader of this group of goblins. Everyone, take up your weapons, and keep the women and children at the back. The old village chief's voice trembled slightly, but he still gave the correct command. Soon, all the goblins surrounded the city, protecting the women and children in the rear, while they picked up their tattered weapons and prepared for battle. Even a weak goblin will fight with all his might in order to survive. Seeing this scene, Sakurako nodded slightly, somewhat agreeing with these goblins. Garos, if we stop here, we can pretend nothing happened. Hongjian and Hongya used their magic power to amplify their voices and conveyed their attitude to the group of wolves. If you come any closer, you will go to war with us ghosts. However, these wolves have no intention of giving up the fat meat in their mouths. With so many goblins gathered in one place, the Garags didn't have to plunder privately. If they can eat it all at once, the Yelan tribe will definitely gain a large amount of magic and stand out in the dangerous forest. Tisk. King Ren's figure blended into the night. He watched the movements of the Garu and said, "Take action. They are determined to become our enemy. I've really been underestimated." The Yunyu siblings looked at each other, and then released the suppression of their own magic elements. At any time, the aura of the A-level monster, which had been restrained and imperceptible to the outside world, enveloped all the monsters in the wilderness like a tsunami. Be it goblins or the gargoyles. Under the oncoming terrifying demonic power, all of them fell into a brief daze. What? The hair of the wolf leader stood up, and his eyes were full of disbelief. This kind of magic element? No, it's impossible. How could it be this heavy? Why are the ghosts so strong? You are not ghosts at all. With Chief Yelan's knowledge, it was impossible for him to have ever seen the legendary ghost. Looking at the entire Jura Forest, not counting the tree elves like Taurine, B-End is the pinnacle of all monsters. As for the A-level upper demon, that is a level that only named monsters can reach. In other words, the two red-haired demons in front of us are named monsters. No. Not just the two of them. There is also Sakurako, and the Sinin who appeared behind the wolf pack at some point and completely cut off their retreat into the forest. 4 upper demon level ghosts. The Yelan leader was filled with deep regret at this moment. He did not expect things to turn out like this. They were clearly hunters, but now they have become ambushed prey. Retreat? Without any hesitation, the Yelan leader immediately let out a wolf howl to retreat. It miscalculated. I thought it was just a few ordinary big ghosts leading the goblins. Demon, not to mention 4 ghosts, even if there was only one, they would not be able to contend with them. Think about the battle between Hungguan and the Pighead clan's army in the original novel. A casual strike from the Black Flame prison could turn hundreds of pig-headed people into ashes. The siblings Hongjian and Hongyu are now no less powerful than Hungguan in the original novel. If we really want to wipe out these 500 wolves, it will only take a few minutes. Without hesitation, all the wolves instinctively followed the leader's command and fled in all directions. Stop them! Don't let any of them go! Sakurako gave orders to Sinin, who opened his arms and threw out a large number of icy threads, instantly covering the entire battlefield. Interstitial crystal wire, an additional skill inherited from Bai Luo's spatial element. The space can be cut off and tiny threads can be extracted. These spatial threads can not only bind the enemy, but are also extremely sharp, comparable to the most advanced magic weapons. Space operations threading the needle. A stream of light shot out from Kang Ren's palm, constantly appearing and disappearing in the space, and actually connected all the crystal threads covering this space. Bang! Sakurako put her hands together, and the barrier was completely free, covering all the Garo. The next moment, the circular network woven by Kang Ren began to emit a prismatic glow, appearing and disappearing like a transparent kaleidoscope. This is... A group of wolves were running wildly forward, and they only saw a flash of light in the darkness ahead. They ignored it and just ran into it. Then... Woo! The wolves in front disappeared but reappeared in other directions, and instead of facing Sakurako and the others, they ran towards them. At this moment, all the Garu were stunned. What's going on? The Yelan leader realized that things were beyond his expectations. I don't know what means these ghosts used to block the surrounding space. That circle of transparent lenses, like a mirror, would teleport the wolves back, making it impossible for them to escape from the range covered by the barrier. What to do? Soren looked at the group of Garavo running around like headless flies. He came to Sakurako and asked her how to deal with these Garavo. The master will probably need them. Bai Luo's attitude towards monsters is mainly to recruit and subdue them. Roar! On the other side, dozens of wolves, seeing that they could not escape, began to attack the goblins. However, Hongjian and Hongyu had already been keeping a close eye on them, so there was no chance that Heya Wolf would harm the goblins. You! Hongyu waved her hand casually, and 10 giant wolves as big as lions and tigers flew out like rag sacks. Asasos! The girl has already restrained her strength, but she can still withstand the terrifying arm strength of the ghost tribe. Just this casual blow almost took the lives of these wolves. Red Moon! When Yingzi saw this, she shouted, "Don't kill them!" Oh! Hongyu didn't mean it, she didn't expect these wolves to be so fragile. She obviously didn't use much effort. But why did they fall down one by one? Healing! There was no other choice, Sakurako had to use healing magic on those wolves that were breathing out more than breathing in, to save their lives. Let me do it! Seeing that her sister couldn't control her strength well, she was at a loss under the attack of the Garo. Hongyan shook his head. Boom! The red-haired young man raised his foot and took a big step forward. The terrifying strange force trampled the earth, and the invisible force spread in all directions like waves, knocking the goblins and the running wolves to the ground. The martial arts skills passed down by Lord Bai Luo are indeed amazing. Hong Yan's control over power is far superior to her sister's. She is able to perfectly take away everyone's ability to move without causing them any harm. Then, a sharp light burst out from Han Jian's eyes. He clenched his fist and swung it fiercely in the direction of the Garo leader. Boom! Crack! The next moment, a scene that horrified countless goblins and Garo appeared before their eyes. The earth was broken and rocks and soil were splashed. A bottomless ravine started with red flames and spread forward until it stopped in front of the Yalan leader hundreds of meters away. At this moment, the leader of the Yalan family no longer had any thoughts of fighting. Just this one punch from Hong Yan was enough to shatter its ambitions. Now, do you understand the gap between us? Han Jian and Hong Yu were confronting the leader of the Fang Lang. With Kang Ren and Hong Yu's actions, it was clear to the leader of the Garo that he had hit a wall. Grade A is a watershed. Below level A, as long as the number is large enough, the opponent will be worn down to death sooner or later. But after breaking through the A level, the magic power recovery speed is abnormal. As long as the ghosts don't commit suicide or cast powerful skills without authorization, it is almost impossible to run out of magic power. Even if you can't win and want to escape, it's easy. Once hatred is formed, there is no reason for it to stop unless one side completely surrenders. The leader of the Yalan clan is now regretting his actions to the core. It shouldn't have provoked these goblins. If it had known earlier that the ghosts were so terrifying, why would it fight? Wouldn't it have just surrendered? Now, he is being targeted by 4 A-level demons. Recalling the power just displayed by Hong Yan and Kang Ren. It doesn't need to happen too many times, just 3 or 4 times, and the Yalan tribe in the forest will face a devastating disaster. What now? When Hong Yu saw that the Yalan leader was beginning to give in, she quickly sent a message to Yingzi to ask for her opinion. They didn't kill a single Fang wolf. Even though the brother and sister were confronting the Garo leader, they were actually confused inside and didn't know what to do. After all, this power was not cultivated by themselves. Even if they defeated the wolf pack, the proud ghost tribe would not feel that glorious. I only have more respect and admiration for Bai Luo. Look! This is the gift from that great man. With such a powerful force, just 3 punches and 2 kicks made the goblins and wolf race tremble with fear. Let Lord Bai Luo decide. Master Bai Luo. Hearing Yingzi's voice transmission, the Hanjian siblings immediately understood what she meant. Are you going to summon the master? Hold these wolves steady. I'll contact Lord Bai Luo. After Yingzi finished speaking, she immediately used the soul corridor to send a communication request to Bai Rong. As for the task of stabilizing Garo, this is too easy. Hong Yu and Hanjian don't have to do anything. They just need to stand there and continuously release magic elements to put pressure on the Garu. They are not smart enough. But they can still do something as simple as posing. What happened, Sakura? The application was quickly approved, and Bai Luo's voice rang in Sakurako's ears. Master Bai Luo, it is like this. Yingzi briefly explained the current situation. We don't know what to do, so we come to ask you for advice. 500 Garo tribe. Great. I'll come right over. There was surprise in Bai Luo's voice. He didn't expect happiness to come so suddenly. These monsters named by Bai Luo have a relationship with him that is only slightly less than that of his followers, and can be called followers. Request flowers 0. Through the soul corridor, Bai Luo can clearly feel the location and status of each family member. Peng Peng, Shui Di, Bing Di, you all come with me. Taking his 3 most powerful followers with him, Bai Luo raised his hand and tore open a hole in front of him. Crash! The next moment, the space around him split into 2 parts. My lord! There is also Big Sister Yo-Yo, Lady Swaty, and Lady Bingdi. Seeing the 4 people coming, Sakurako bowed quickly. Here we go again. The etiquette of the ghost tribe is really unbearable. Hyote doesn't really like Sakurako's behavior of being rude at first but respectful later. Even within the Ice Scorpion clan, weaker members of the clan regard the Ice Emperor as an elder and family member. As for Shui Di, she has always been aloof and doesn't care about the so-called hierarchy. Whereas Boergian had already gotten used to it, and happily greeted Kangren. Is this the goblin? Bai Luo looked at the short figure that was like a wave not far from them. It's the degenerated form of a lower-level fire fairy. No wonder it's so different from the goblins I know. Bai Luo's impression of goblins is that they are cunning, sinister, and despicable, with pointed cheeks and a mouth full of sharp teeth. However, the goblins in the Axis world are not good looking either. But in terms of temperament, they were more like a group of shivering little beggars, not at all the wretched appearance he had imagined. The world is different, so are the monsters' settings different. Text. The goblins in the Axis world are also called goblins, but they should be called the imp tribe. Thinking of this, Bai Luo turned his head and looked at Garo in the distance. Yet, just like in the original book, it's a group of monsters. But what's the situation now? Bai Luo only took a few glances at the shattered land and the scattered wolves lying on the ground, and analyzed everything that had happened here. Roar, roar, roar. Sensing the arrival of a new breath, the wolves subconsciously growled, as if to scare them and make them retreat. The reason for this is because of the Ice Emperor and the Snow Emperor who came with Bai Luo. The ancient and wild aura of the two women caused the wolves to have an immediate stress reaction. Tisk, it's so noisy. Bingdi couldn't bear to see anyone showing his teeth to him, so he immediately released a fierce cold air from his body. Her control over her power is exquisite. The goblins who were close by only felt the cold wind blowing on their faces. As for the Yalan tribe further away, they felt as if they had fallen into an icy cave and began to tremble. Looking at the grass outside the circle, it was covered with a layer of ice crystals in an instant. Even the three clowns hiding in the dark and observing felt cold all over. What a terrifying ice magic! Laplace was shocked. It's not like he hasn't encountered ice magic before. But such strong and penetrating ice magic is truly unheard of. Hiss, it's so cold. Tia hugged her body tightly. Isn't the quality of this magic too high? Unique skills, this must be a unique skill. 737. If it was a normal skill, with the resistance of the three of them, it would be impossible to have any effect on them. As for the additional skills, it's okay for a single target, but it can break the defense of three people. But this was clearly a large-scale skill, and it wasn't even targeting the three of them, yet it was so deadly. Apart from the unique skills, the three of them could not think of any other possibility for such an effect. Another named monster that has gained a unique skill. Laplace couldn't understand how Bai Luo had gathered so many powerful monsters to pledge their allegiance. Of they. Suddenly, Shwedi, who was watching Bai Luo talking with the goblin village chief from a distance, seemed to sense something. She cast her gaze toward the forest behind her. The forest was shrouded in darkness and silence, but Shwedi could feel several eyes watching her. What's wrong, Shwedi? Bai Luo was inviting the goblins to follow him, but when he saw Shwedi's reaction, he immediately became alert. Uncertain. Shwedi narrowed her beautiful eyes, but I feel like someone is watching me. Mo. Bai Luo's heart moved slightly, and he thought of a possibility. Could it be that it is the Zhongyang Clown Company? Detection and tracking. At the first moment, Bai Luo used anti-surveillance skills. Notice, no one was found to be monitoring. Bai Luo was speechless as he looked at the information fed back by the skill. He didn't think that Shwedi was having an illusion. The Jura Forest is a place that can spy on us in secret, and even the Snow Emperor cannot detect it. Apart from the tree elves like Taurine, there are only Laplace, Footman, and Tia from the mediocre Clown Company. There is no need to consider the tree elves. After Bai Luo arrived, Torni had already appeared among the goblin tribe. If other tree elves saw Torni here, they would definitely come over to say hello. They would not hide in the corner and stare at them secretly. Torini, can you arrange a situation that can completely isolate it from outside detection? Bai Luo and Shwedi do not have sufficient anti-reconnaissance capabilities. Sakurako's barrier is more physical. It is not very effective for skills that are specifically designed to obtain intelligence. But it doesn't matter. They also have Taurine. As a tree elf, it is common for him to secretly observe the life in the forest and hide his own breath. If you can hide, you can block. No problem. Torni didn't notice it at first, until Bai Luo said so. She reacted. Miss Tree Elf first launched an exploration of the forest in the distance. Unfortunately, there was no result. Apparently, the three clowns realized that they might be exposed and left. Buzz soon, under Torni's action, an invisible barrier enveloped the goblins, Bai Luo, and others. Hanjian, bring the leader of the Fanglang tribe to see me. Yes, sir. Upon receiving the order, Hong Yan's eyes flashed. His figure instantly crossed a distance of hundreds of meters and arrived in front of the Yalan leader. Without waiting for the Yalan leader to react, Hong Yan grabbed the other's neck and carried him to Bai Luo. Wu 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 leader Yelan had never encountered such a thing before. It wanted to resist, but facing the strange power of Hong Yan, it couldn't even raise its head. I could only whimper from my throat to suppress the panic and anxiety in my heart. My lord, the enemy general has been brought here. Please make your decision. Han Jian knelt on one knee and held the head of the wolf leader with one hand, forcing it to surrender. Well, let it go for now. Yes. Hong Yan and others were not worried at all that the Yelan leader would harm Bai Luo. How could a monster that is not even at level B possibly touch their lord? What's more, it happened right under their noses. If that were to happen, they would have no face to live in this world and would just commit suicide. Wolf or dog? It should be a wolf. Bingdi squatted on the ground, looking at the crawling Yelan leader, and she poked the other's nose with her finger. DS. The Yelan leader was extremely terrified. Although Hyote's magic power is only around 30,000. However, the aura of the 400,000-year-old beast was preserved by the power of the rules of the voice of the world. In simple terms, it means murderous intent. The Ice Emperor lived for hundreds of thousands of years, and countless humans, beasts and soul beasts died at her hands. With so many of them piling up, the tyrannical aura entwined around the Ice Emperor is beyond the imagination of ordinary monsters in this world. Normally, Bingdi restrains his aura. Therefore, in the eyes of the demon clan, Hyote is just a tsundere girl with twin ponytails. She is not scary at all, but rather quite cute. But the Wolf Fang leader is different. It is a beast, and the instincts of beasts are always extremely sharp. It feels the terrifying figure of the ancient beast standing on the sea of blood and corpses. Stay still, I'll deal with you after the matter with the master is settled on 1.9. The wolf leader had no courage to bare his teeth to Bingdi, and immediately nodded repeatedly to show that he would never resist. There's no way, the gap is too big. I thought 4 ghosts were the limit. Who would have thought that there are masters out there? Especially the monster in human form in front of him was so terrifying. What's even more terrifying is, such a monster actually has a master above her. That's too much. Leader Garo really wants to cry now. If there were a pill of regret in the world, it would go back to itself a few hours ago and give the other party a few good beatings to stop it from dreaming of ruling its own territory. The water in the Jura Forest is too deep, it can't grasp it at all. Chapter 70. Are you the lord that Lady Sakurako and the others are talking about? On the other hand, the old goblin in the original book was elected by the goblins to serve as the temporary leader. He was wearing a dusty brown windbreaker and holding a cane in his hand. His old body looked like it would fall down if the wind blew just by standing there. Well, my name is Bai Luo. Bai Luo didn't say any more nonsense and announced directly, Sakurako and the others should have told you my purpose. Under the witness of Mystery Elf, I will accept your allegiance and grant you shelter. From now on, you will become my people and obey my orders. I'm here to assure you. Bai Luo said seriously, as long as you love me for one day, I will protect your life and property from being violated by others. Would you like to? The goblins did not understand what Bai Luo meant. They only knew that the 24 weak goblins were about to receive protection from the strong. In the world of monsters, the strong are respected. Living in the forest, they are in danger every day. If someone is willing to protect them, then it is only natural for them to sacrifice their freedom and loyalty. It is better to say that Bai Luo is already very kind. Yes. We do. Praise you, great master. Then, the goblins gathered in front of Bai Luo bowed to him like dominoes. Get Goblin X8600 to follow. Begin counting the total amount of magic statistics completed. The total amount of magic power of the Goblin clan is 258860 EP. Unique skill leader starts to integrate magic elements. Integration completed. Obtain 78,000 EP of magic element. The sudden increase in magic power made it impossible for Bailakao to control time well. The increase in magic power limit instantly triggered a series of chain reactions. Boom! With Bai Luo as the center, magic power turned into airwaves and spread in all directions. A deep blue magic light column with faint star particles rose into the sky. If it weren't for Torni's timely reaction, and the Snow Queen standing nearby, the goblins would have been able to resist the magical pressure from Bai Luo. This one strike alone was enough to make a large number of goblins that were close to it faint. Oh, what a terrifying spirit! Is this the power of my lord? How terrifying! Even with the protection of the Snow Queen, the goblins still felt the pressure from their new master. That is a huge magical power that they cannot even imagine. For a moment, Countless goblins were surprised and happy. Because such a powerful being is willing to accept their service. X. Bingdi and Ergui noticed the changes in Bai Luo. However, the two women did not act rashly, but stayed where they were and helped Tony maintain the stability of the counter-detection results. With Shwedi by Bai Luo's side, nothing will go wrong. After all, when it comes to actual combat ability, Shwedi is the strongest one. Woo woo woo. As for the rest of the Yalan tribe, they were completely stunned. What kind of monster am I fighting against? At the same time, the Garu were extremely envious of the goblins for being able to gain the favor of such a powerful demon. If that lord could accept our loyalty, that would be great. Inexplicably, this thought came into the mind of the Yalan leader. Not to mention Bai Luo, even Bingdi couldn't muster the slightest desire to resist. There is no shame in submitting to the strong. In order to preserve the race and continue the bloodline, following a leader with a bright future is the most correct choice. The Yalan tribe is a social creature with its own social structure. There is the alpha wolf as the leader, followed by the wolf pack as the main fighting force, and the old wolves and cubs of lower status. However, Bai Luo did not have the time to recruit the Yalan tribe. In his mind at this moment, a large amount of information was rapidly emerging, and the whole person was as if he was in a raging sea, being transformed by a huge amount of magic. Magic essence detected exceeds 100,000, meeting the evolution conditions. Evolution started, evolution failed. Challenge again. Evolution failure, repeated information. I don't know how many times it has been repeated. Finally, when Bai Luo was feeling annoyed, a piece of starry sky fragment that looked like a shrunken universe slowly emerged in Bai Luo's eyes in the central core of the Axis world. Found the power fragments of Star Dragon King felt Nava, do you want to fuse them? After the fusion, the race Dragon Demon will be fully awakened, and the evolutionary root of the dragon species Star Dragon King will be obtained. Fusion. Bai Luo didn't expect that just evolving from A level to special A level, he would encounter such a thing. You know, the reason why Rimuru in the original work has such a bug-like evolution speed is that he grew to the level of the god of creation in just a few years. Some people speculate that a large part of the reason lies in Rimuru's identity and his unique skill. Great Sage. About Rimuru's origin. There is a saying that Rimuru is the reincarnation of the Star Dragon King, and the Great Sage is the Star Dragon King's wife Lucia. But Bai Luo feels that Rimuru is not the real Star Dragon King. In other words, the Star Dragon King had fallen long ago, but like the Eastern Empire's Emperor Rudra, he had separated his soul into countless pieces. A relatively large piece of it fell on Mikami Satoru, who was then reincarnated as Rimuru. However, Bai Luo's situation at this time is different from Rimuru's. What he got was not the fragment of Star Dragon King's soul, but the fragment of power. To be more precise, it is the authority left by the Star Dragon King in the Axis world. Notice, individual named Bai Luo successfully evolved into a dragon demon. Obtain unique skill. Voice of the world. Unique skill. Leader evolves into all souls. Return to one. Unique skill. Traveler, unconventional, evolves into Void Gate. Obtain special skill. Dragon transformation. After the evolution, Bai Luo was still in a daze. He could feel the magic power in his body now, which was several times greater than before. What's even more terrifying is that after mastering the special skill of magic element solidification, Bai Luo's physical fitness has also improved by several times. Strength. Stronger than ever before. Bai Luo clenched his fists. He looked at his hands and found that his original palms had turned into sharp dragon claws. Behind Bai Luo, a pair of azure dragon wings that seemed like a dream, between reality and nothingness, slowly opened. Chapter 71. Is this the appearance after my dragon demon bloodline is fully awakened? Bai Luo is not dissatisfied with his current image because this status is not permanent. As long as he wanted, he could take back his dragon characteristics at any time and then restore his human form. This is similar to Milim in Demon King. In addition, Bai Luo has the ability to transform into a dragon, which Milim does not have. Dragon transformation description: completely release the magic in the body to build a dragon body. This process will absorb a large amount of magic, and each time it is used up, you will fall into weakness for a certain period of time. Transform into a magic dragon, absorb a large amount of magic. It looks like a transformation skill. Bai Luo secretly guessed, I wonder how much magic power I can increase, and how much stronger I can become. Notice, the magic power after the current dragon transformation will be 10 times that of the half-dragon state. What? Bai Luo was delighted at first, then he immediately realized, who are you? Great Sage. Notice, this is a unique skill called Voice of the World, not Great Sage. Bai Luo was stunned for a moment, and then he thought of something and asked, "Are you the new ability I just acquired?" Reply, yes, unique skill Voice of the World, a superior replacement for the unique skill Great Sage, with the following abilities: Thinking Acceleration, increases perception speed by 1,000 times. Analysis and Identification, analyze the object and conduct identification. Parallel Calculation, the ability to separate the thing to be analyzed from the thinking and perform the calculation. Chanting Abandonment, when using magic and other skills, there is no need to chant the spell. All things in the world, collect all the unblocked information in this world. The above abilities are very similar to those of Rimuru's Great Sage. However, Bai Luo's World Voice also possesses some abilities that Great Sages do not have. For example, the central connection can parse different rules and store them in inventory and extract them. There are also things like door management, space-time stability, anchor point engraving, starry sky projection and so on. How did you get here? Bai Luo just glanced at the various abilities of Voice of the World. Compared with these, he wanted to know where the Voice of the World came from and whether it would cause harm to him. Notice, this body is the origin of the individual name Bai Luo, fused with the sound of the basic Axis World rules, and a new rule is born. Simply put, the Voice of the World here is not the same as the embodiment of the rules of the base Axis World. The Axis World was created by the Star Dragon King, and later, the voice of his wife Lucia was loaded into it, turning it into a kind of world will. However, the true Voice of the World has no soul or self and is a pure tool. You have your own consciousness. Report, yes, the new world sound is born from Bai Luo's soul. Later, because of Bai Luo, he traveled between Pokemon, Siking and Doluo world. In this process, World Voice continues to absorb new rules. Finally, he absorbed enough power of the law, and with the opportunity of Bai Luo breaking through the special A level, he was successfully born. So, you were born because I kept traveling through the world. Reply, yes, this is really. Bai Luo understood. He really didn't expect things to turn out this way. The Axis world is a chaotic world created by the Star Dragon King. As a world, it has no self-awareness and no emotions. It just mechanically and step by step executes the programs that have been set long ago. The Great Sage in the original work is essentially stealing the authority of the Voice of the World. Finally, it subtly replaced the will of the Axis world. When Rimuru became the god of creation, Seal naturally became the world will of the Axis world. What is your purpose? Bai Luo is unable to describe how he feels about World Voice. First of all, there is closeness, a feeling of blood compatibility. The second is trust and absolute control. The Voice of the World, as Bai Luo's ability, is itself part of his power. As long as Bai Luo wanted, he could easily erase the consciousness of the Voice of the World and turn it into a program without self that only knew how to execute established commands. Notice, Purpose 1, to help individual Bai Luo grow better. Notice, Purpose 2, perfect yourself and control the base world. I understand the first part, but is the latter part about perfecting oneself and controlling the base world what I understand? Bai Luo, you want to become the heavenly Dao of the Axis world? Reply, yes, without Bai Luo, the Voice of the World would not be able to absorb the rules of the Pokemon, Siking, and Doluo worlds, thus allowing itself to develop consciousness. As for the relationship between the two, World Voice and Bai Luo have the same origin, but are mainly based on Bai Luo. Once Bai Luo dies, the Voice of the World will also disappear. Therefore, the Voice of the World will never hurt Bai Luo, but will only do its best to help and protect him. But the Axis world, is it willing? You should know that before, the Axis world helped Bai Luo negotiate with the Great Lord Shineo. Moreover, both parties have tacitly chosen to cooperate and grow together. However, faced with such huge benefits, it is difficult for Bai Luo to make a decision. On one side are our own people, and on the other side are outsiders. If the Voice of the World can become the natural law of the Axis world, then Bai Luo is the life of the world. It can't be that if the original Charles can do it, Bai Luo's World Voice can't do it, right? Rather than leaving it to the future Rimuru, it would be better for Bai Luo to grab it in advance. Notice, the rules of the Axis world are not what the host thinks. Bai Luo, how do you say that? Notice, the Axis world will never have self-awareness. This is the underlying program that was written by the Star Dragon King at the beginning of creation. No one can change it. Then, what is the will of the world that helped me to travel through time? Notice, the instinct of the world. In the words of the voice of the world, good money, if the world is a living organism, then it is its instinct to grow, strengthen itself, and constantly upgrade dimensions. What you said is. Bai Luo complained, why am I like some kind of probiotic bacteria? The Axis world discovered me and instinctively chose to coexist with me. Report, this is the fact. How far can you go? Bai Luo, replacing the will of the Axis world and taking charge of the rules. Notice, I am very weak as a newborn, and I am not strong enough to interfere with the reality group on a large scale. Notice, we can only do limited calculation and modification rules. Okay, Bai Luo understood. That is to say, the Star Dragon King established the rules of the Axis world. Although the voice of the world has self-awareness, she cannot go against the will of the Star Dragon King. It has always been like this, and it will be like this in the future. The world voice couldn't openly prevent Bai Luo from cheating, so it could only help him use a backdoor. Chapter 72. How long will it take to completely control the Axis world? Notice, the creator is too different from the former creator god, and we cannot interfere with his will for the time being. Is there a clear hierarchy? Voice of the world, when the creator breaks through the special S level, he can try to completely seize control of the Axis world. Special S level only qualifies you to fight for control, so it is not recommended to work theoretically speaking. As long as Bai Luo's strength exceeds that of the Star Dragon King, the voice of the world can in turn devour the original rules. Let me give you a simple analogy. Assuming that Axis world is a company, Bai Luo is a shareholder and voice of the world is the president. Yes, president. Because in the current axial world, only the voice of the world is qualified to compete for sovereignty. Although the president has great power, he can only abide by company rules and cannot modify or create new rules. So I need to go to another world, make money and then invest it in the company to increase my shareholding. One day, when my shareholding ratio exceeds that of Star Dragon King, I will have the final say in this company. Bai Luo, is that what you mean? Yes, that's not all. World Voice will also manage Axis world well and make it a strong backing for Bai Luo. It can be said that the base world is like the rear base of Bai Luo 360. With it, Bai Luo can explore other worlds with confidence and boldness. Increase income and reduce expenditure, and feed back to oneself. When one suffers, all suffer, when one prospers, all prosper. The most important point is that World Voice is only a manager, not an owner. Once this world belonged to the Star Dragon King, and now it belongs to Bai Luo. The voice of the world is more like a housekeeper, helping Bai Luo manage assets and overseeing the health of the capital chain. I see. Well, please give me more advice in the future, voice of the world. Message, looking forward to walking with you, Lord Creator, but, what should I call you? Should I just call you the voice of the world? It feels weird. Bai Luo thought for a moment and said, how about I give you a name like I gave to monsters? Warning, this will consume a large amount of the creator's magic. Do you need it? Notice, I don't support it, but I look forward to it. I see. Bai Luo is also very interested in whether the voice of the world can be named. As for the danger, if it really would harm Bai Luo, World Voice would definitely reject it sternly, instead of just saying no support casually. The voice of the world became Bai Luo's companion spirit, able to assist Bai Luo in fighting and thinking, but also subject to Bai Luo and absolutely obedient to him. Violet, how's it going? Violet, from Violet Evergarden, is the name of the heroine. Of course, Violet itself means violet, not specifically referring to a certain character. Bai Luo just thinks that if one day, the voice of the world can be transformed into a human form, then her image is probably the same as that of a certain Waimei. He has 3 attributes, has emotional cognitive disorders, and hides a strong desire under his cold appearance. These are very consistent with the sound of the newborn world. Announcement, the creator's wishes have been integrated and integration has begun. Integration completed. Unique skill. Voice of the world evolves into Spirit of the world. Violet. Hello, creator, the world spirit Violet is at your service. Bai Luo ignored the large amount of magic energy that was lost, nearly half of it. He only knew that his feeling was right. Although Violet has the connection to the root of the Axis world and possesses all known knowledge, she herself has not yet developed emotions like humans. In other words, what Violet will become requires Bai Luo's guidance. Through this naming, World Voice incorporates the image of Wei Mei in Bai Luo's memory. Of course, this doesn't mean that Violet will be exactly like Violet. The image is just a template, the voice of the world remains the original voice of the world. Bai Luo chose Violet because world voice had just been born. If you choose cute characters, the conflict in personality will probably lead to naming failure. Loyal, calm, and pure, isn't she very similar to you? Not understand. Violet's voice also changed, and it truly coincided with the Violet in Bai Luo's memory. But don't be like Rimura's seal. I don't want to be a henpecked husband like the cute king. This is also the reason why Bai Luo named his own world voice Violet. Compared to the opinionated housekeeper, Bai Luo still prefers the absolutely obedient Wei Mei, who is the template of his ideal wife. The creator is greedy. That's definitely not something Violet would say, is it? No, I'm Violet. Bai Luo naturally didn't think that just naming her once could completely distort Violet's self. The current Violet is more like a combination of the original voice of the world and the Violet girl imagined by Bai Luo. Never mind, this is not bad. Bai Luo doesn't mind having a friend by his side who he can talk to and argue with at any time. I will set you free as soon as possible, Violet. Violet, well, let's work hard together, Master Creator. Violet Race, World Spirit Magic Element, 200,000 EP, possessing an incarnation of the Demon King level, unique skills, omniscience and omnipotence, analyze everything and control it, world creation, unawakened, world incarnation, possess an incarnation, even if the magic essence is exhausted, it can be restored to its peak over time. This is Violet's attribute column. This race is the spirit of the world, and can be considered the original voice of the world. It is a special existence that was born after integrating Bai Luo's magic element. Her body is the Axis world, but her consciousness can act with Bai Luo. Violet has 3 unique skills, among which omniscience can be used to analyze different rules and manipulate and utilize them, which is considered to be the superior ability of Rimura's great sage. The second world creation, although in an unawakened state, Bai Luo can still detect its effects. World creation introduction, place your origin in the base world, and as long as the world does not perish, you will be immortal. This ability. Bai Luo asked, why is it an unawakened state? Because I haven't been able to completely control the Axis world yet. Bai Luo understood that his soul was one with Violet. When Violet completely integrates into the Axis world, it is equivalent to Bai Luo gaining control of the Axis world. In this way, the relationship between the two is somewhat similar to the relationship between the Sage of Heaven and the Way of Heaven in prehistoric novels. The Sage relies on the Way of Heaven. As long as the Way of Heaven is immortal, the Sage will never die. By the same token, as long as the Axis world still exists, Bai Luo will not truly fall. He can be resurrected again and again through the Axis world. As long as Bai Luo is alive, Violet will not disappear. Chapter 73. It's a perfect closed loop. Bai Luo asked, what about the last one, what are the abilities of the world incarnation? Mr. Creator. As Bai Luo finished speaking, a beautiful figure appeared in front of him. It was exactly the Violet Evergarden in his memory. Thanks to the magic you gave me, I can stay by your side in this form. In addition, this body can also return the essence to you. At this point, Violet seemed to be worried that Bai Luo didn't understand, so she explained, returning the magic element does not mean that I will degenerate. After the magic essence is returned, this body will collapse. But this is only temporary, Violet said. As time goes by, I can absorb magic from the Axis world until this body can store as much magic as it can. Hey! Hearing this, Bai Luo had a sense of déjà vu, isn't this just like? Yes, just like the storm dragon inside Rimuru. As the spirit of the world born from Bai Luo's origin, Violet possesses all the knowledge mastered by the creator, which naturally includes the animation and novels that Bai Luo has watched. You can use this portion of magic as a restorable reserve. Violet, it will take about half a month to replenish from 0 to 200,000. That is to say. Yes. Violet, this means that you can receive an additional 200,000 magic points from me every month. Just from the information Violet revealed, Bai Luo could think of several ways to use this magic element. For example, take it out and use it to name monsters. For example, in battle, he could merge Violet with himself and use each other's magic together. 200,000, is that the limit? Violet shook her head slightly and said, whether it's the upper limit or the recovery speed, it's only at the current stage. Due to my limited strength, my world incarnation cannot compare with the infinite magic of the dragon species. The magic recovery speed of the dragon species in the basic Axis world can be called a bug. In the original work, Rimuru gave names to 200,000 pig-headed people at one time, and they only rested for a while before returning to their peak. That's 200,000. Even if the dilution ratio of high-level magic element to low-level magic element is higher, it is impossible to complete the naming of 200,000 pig-headed people. To put it bluntly, even if each pig-headed tribe only consumes 1,000 magic elements, that is a huge expense of 200 million. What is the concept of 200 million magic elements? Even in the late stage, Rimuru could barely reach this level after fusing 2 dragon species. How could Rimuru, who is only a demon king, possess so much magic? Bai Luo didn't think of anything else except the storm dragon. The king has the storm dragon, and I have Violet. Although it is not comparable for the time being, Violet will continue to grow. This is the power of the world incarnation ability. Will consuming this amount of magic have a negative impact on you, Wei? No. Violet would not fall into a deep sleep just because her 200,000 magic points were used up. At most, she would lose the ability to transform. Anyway, Violet will be able to recover in half a month at most. In fact, as long as the magic energy consumed each time does not exceed half, the avatar can live a normal life. That's good. Bai Luo naturally hopes that Violet can live with him like a living person. If she consumed all the magic power she had, Violet would never be able to condense her body. Bai Luo would never do such a thing. It's shameful to be a gigolo of a woman, but it's even more shameless to be so shameless. What's the difference between him and the scumbag who stays at home and takes his wife's income every month? This amount of magic must be used for naming. Bai Luo is not a person who likes to do business at a loss. Naming is an investment. Naming is meaningful only if there is money to be made. Bai Luo race, Dragon Demon level, Special A Demon King, Disaster level, Magic Element, 205,000 EP, cannot increase Violet's 100,000 because that 200,000 already belongs to Bai Luo. Occupation, Magician General Skills, Life Magic, Healing Magic, Elemental Magic, Pokemon Magic, etc. Intrinsic Skills, Adaptability, All Professional Proficiency, etc. Additional Skills, Dragon Eye, Explosion Magic, Soul Summoning, Human Soul Integration, Demon King Pressure. Unique Skills, Gate of the Void Exception, World Spirit, All Souls Return to One, Capturer, Learner, Spirit Master. Special Skills, Magic Solidification, Inheritable, Star Particle Control, Not Inheritable, God's 10 Rings, Not Inheritable, Magic Dragon Transformation, Not Inheritable, Exclusive Skills, Twin Martial Souls, Lord of the Cold Wasteland Destiny, Violet Dependence. Eruption, Snow Emperor, Hyote, Benimaru, Shana, Shin, Sui, 7/24, Family 0/3, Marked Worlds, Pokemon World, can be anchored, Sashin World, can be anchored, Doluo Universe, blocked, 0.0. The properties are becoming more and more luxurious. Bai Luo turned his attention to the column of Surrender Magic Element, 205,000 magic elements. If you have more than 200,000 magic elements, you can be awarded the title of Demon King. In the original novel, Clayman, Carrion, and Queen Frey are basically between 300,000 and 400,000. In other words, Bai Luo now has the strength to rival the last 3 of the 10 Demon Kings. This doesn't even include the wolf species. Bai Luo has no intention of letting these wolves go. Garo has the characteristic of the whole as the individual, that is, naming one of them is equivalent to naming all the individuals at the same time. Of course, this naming method is definitely different from normal individual naming. The magic energy consumption alone is much less than normal naming. It is important to explain here the difference between Bai Luo's newly acquired unique skills, namely All Souls Return to One and Leader. The unification of all spirits will not increase the ratio of magic elements that followers of different classes can provide. Followers are 13%, named monsters are 15%, and dependents are 50%. The original one is still the same and has not changed due to skill upgrades. However, between the originally huge gap between named monsters and their followers, the unity of all spirits once again provided a new class. Family. It is between a named monster and a follower, and can provide Bai Luo with 30% of the total magic power in return. Bai Luo needs to select the clan target himself and bind it. Chapter 74. The maximum number of followers is 3. This means that Bai Luo can now only have up to 3 monster races as his own followers. As for where the clan came from, first of all, the clan must be related to the dependents. In other words, only monsters of the same race as the followers can be transformed into followers by Bai Luo. FFLX. Bai Luo thought about his followers, only the ghost tribe meets this requirement. Shaking his head, Bai Luo stopped thinking about this question for the time being and focused his attention on the Yalan tribe in front of him. Submit, or die. Bai Luo looked at the Yalan leader who had been crawling on the ground obediently since just now. Woo! Feeling Bai Luo's gaze, the leader of the Yalan instantly shrank into a ball, and even spoke with a trembling voice, I am willing to submit to you, your great demon king. The pressure at that moment was undoubtedly far beyond the suppression of the demon's aura. The only existence that Chief Garo could think of that was scarier than the upper demon was the demon king. As mentioned before, there is no clear distinction between demon lords and demon kings in the Axis world. In the eyes of most people, demon king is just a title and a level of combat power. This problem exists among all the 10 demon kings. The last 3, Clement, Carrion, and Queen Frey, were equally unaware of the gap between themselves and the other demon kings. The demon king species and the true demon king. The true demon king, and the true demon king who has obtained the ultimate power. The difference in combat power between these 3 is so great that it is no exaggeration to say that it is overwhelming. So even though Bai Luo is called the demon king by the Yalan leader, he is actually the weakest one. Forget about the title of demon king. I have no intention of becoming one yet. Claiming to be the demon king may lead to a demon king banquet. It doesn't matter to other demon kings, but Clement, the troublemaker, will definitely jump out to cause trouble. Although Bai Luo was not afraid, he didn't want to go through so much trouble. Anyway, with Bai Luo's speed of becoming stronger, he will be able to crush him sooner or later, so there is no need to rush. Yes. The Yalan leader didn't know what Bai Luo was thinking. It was impossible for it to guess what the devil was thinking, so all it had to do now was to keep a low profile as much as possible. Bring all your people here to beg for mercy. Yes. The Yalan leader did not dare to disobey and immediately let out a long howl to summon his people. Soon, nearly 500 wolves gathered in front of Bai Luo. The Yalan is huge in size, nearly 1 meter tall just when standing, a definitely large wolf. Submit to me and you will be my people. In the original work, Rimuru killed the leader of the Garo, but his son Ranga was still willing to follow Rimuru, which gave rise to the staka of just revenge for the murder of his father. In contrast, Bai Luo has no conflicts with the Yalan tribe. Pick out the 18 best wolves in your tribe, and I will give you names. Bai Luo's words completely shocked the Yalan leader. It looked at Bai Luo in disbelief, wondering if it had heard wrongly. You mean, you want to name us? How? Bai Luo joked, don't you want it? No. Thank you for your gift. The leader of the Garo clan was so excited that his whole body was shaking. We, the Garo clan, will swear to follow you till death, and defend your authority from generation to generation. As the Garo leader finished speaking, all the Garo behind him knelt down one after another, offering their loyalty to their great and generous master. Also, goblins. Bai Luo did not forget the weak goblins. Select 100 of you and I will give you names. Really? Is it really possible? Hearing that Bai Luo was willing to give names to weak goblins like them, the goblins were extremely moved, and many female goblins even burst into tears. What a merciful lord! Even though we are so weak, you are willing to protect us. Originally, the old goblin village chief felt that being able to serve under Bai Luo and be protected by him was already a great thing. But who would have thought that they, the goblins, would be so lucky as to meet such a lord? Come up and line up. Bai Luo waved his hand and asked the old village chief to come forward with 100 goblins. You stay, too. The old village chief was about to leave, but was stopped by Bai Luo. At your age, if you don't get a name, you won't live long. From now on, you will be called Rigurd. As the leader of the goblin clan, you will serve me. These words once again moved the old village chief to tears. Bai Luo even felt that even if he was ordered to commit suicide, Ligurd would commit suicide on the spot without hesitation. As for the question of Rigurd's name, during this period, the demon Grummet had not yet come to the goblin village, and had not yet named Rigurd's eldest son. For you, the elder brother is called Lyrad and the younger brother is called Ligd. And you? The naming of the goblins, except for the father and his son at the beginning, Bai Luo was more casual, Gobta, Gobna, Gobia. The naming process was quick. Bai Luo took a look at the consumed magic power, which was reduced by about 60,000. Bai Luo's magic power is over 200,000, minus 60,000 it has dropped by 200,000. But the status of the Demon King will not disappear. In fact, even if Bai Luo used up all his magic essence, he would still be a Demon King. The Demon King species is the recognition of the demons by the Axis world, which means that you have the qualifications to impact the realm of true demon. 4.3 King. 100,000 magic points were consumed, and 40,000 were fed back from the goblins, so only 60,000 magic points were reduced. In theory, if you want to upgrade an E-level goblin to a C-level big goblin, you will need to consume at least 2,000 magic elements. 100 goblins, that's 200,000. But Bai Luo had someone above him, and Violet helped him get a back door, giving him a 50% discount, which was 100,000 magic elements. As expected of you, Wei Er. Bai Luo secretly gave Violet a thumbs up. His good wife had learned how to save money for him right after she came. Magic element, 20.5 145,000. After finishing the naming of the goblins, Garo also selected the tribesmen who were qualified to receive names. Chapter 75. Owner. They are the most outstanding descendants of our clan. After careful selection by the leader of the Garo, the 18 strongest and youngest Garo came in front of Bai Luo. Here we have Ranya from the original novel, as well as individuals whose names have never been mentioned in other novels. What's interesting is that there are exactly 9 males and 9 females among the 18 wolves. Bai Luo had no intention of pairing them up. Once a monster evolves, it becomes difficult for it to reproduce, and may even endanger the lives of its parents. Of course, Bai Luo will not interfere with the free choices of the Garo. They can pair up or remain single, it's the choice of the wolves. Including you, there are 19 Fang wolves in total. Bai Luo had his own plan, and he did not choose the name of the whole nature of Garo like Rimuru did. The 18 gargoyles represent the 18 attributes of Pokémon. Each wolf will inherit one of them, and they will develop into their own tribe. The leader of the Yelan clan is the leader of the entire wolf clan. From now on, you will be called Zinja. In addition to the leader of the Garo, Star Fang, the other 8 Garo are, Male, Storm Fang, Flying, White Fang 24, Normal, Rock Fang, Rock, Steel Fang, Steel, Earth Fang, Ground, Thunder Fang, Electricity, Dragon Fang, Dragon, Fierce Fang, Evil, Fighting Fang, Fighting, Female, Yanya, Fire, Quenya, Water, Menja, Grass, Yuya, Ghost, Nyanya, Psychic, Binja, Ice, Uia, Fairy, Yinja, Bug, Zia, Poison. Among them, Zinja inherited some of Bai Luo's characteristics as the Star Dragon King. Although he could not control star particles, he gained the power to control time, space, and stars. In addition, named after Star Fang, the entire Fang Wolf clan evolved into the Star Fang Wolf clan. Under the Star Fang Wolf clan, there are 18 tribes, named Star Mist Wolf and Star Flame Wolf. And after the naming was completed, Bai Luo immediately felt a large amount of magic energy being lost. For the first time, Bai Luo felt dizzy. This is the consequence of the rapid consumption of magic essence. It seems that I need to rest for a while. Bai Luo never expected that he would have the same experience as Rimuru. He immediately summoned Violet. I'll leave the rest to you, Violet. Oh, please take a good rest. Without further ado, Violet, who shared Bai Luo's feelings, embraced the fallen Bai Luo in her arms. However, this scene made Xue Di, who was standing by, inexplicably feel dissatisfied. She didn't understand what this feeling meant. It's just that I can't suppress the boredom in my heart. Who are you? Xue Di took a step forward, wary of the girl who suddenly appeared. Violet. Violet said calmly, it's Bai Luo's other half. The sudden declaration instantly left Xue Di and the other great ghosts present at a loss. The other half? Isn't that the mistress? What a bold statement! 17 What nonsense! Xue Di scolded coldly, I don't know when a guy like you appeared around him. Logically speaking, Xue Di is not the kind of person who gets angry easily. But it concerns Bai Luo's safety, and some feelings that even Xue Di doesn't understand, so she can't stand Violet's nonsense. You can find out by asking Bai Luo about this. But now, we should protect him well instead of arguing here, right? Violet's words left Xuede with no way to refute. There was no choice but for Xuede to stand aside. She had to protect Bai Luo and guard against Violet, and she was even more guessing about the other party's identity. Not to mention Xuede and Violet's silent waiting. The changes in the Yelan clan immediately attracted the attention of the big goblins, and demons. The giant wolf, which was originally ordinary and only a little bigger than a normal beast, was now emitting various colors of light one after another. Red, blue, green. For a moment, the grassland illuminated only by moonlight seemed to have become a gorgeous stage under neon lights, which amazed Sakurako and others. Individual evolution is successful. Start calculating the total amount of followers. Magic calculation completed. This individual is the namer, sharing 15% of magic power. Obtain 900 magic elements. Individual evolution is successful. Obtain 950 magic element. Obtain 1100 magic elements. Get, as the Fang Wolf clan evolved into the Star Fang Wolf, the power of the 18 clan leaders radiated. 500 wolves evolved into corresponding clans according to their own compatibility. This time of bestowing a name, Bai Luo almost exhausted all of his magic. A full 200,000 magic elements were consumed in an instant. Instead, 19 wolves, including Xinjia, evolved simultaneously. Among them, the most magic is obtained from the teeth. It obtained more than 50,000 magic elements from Bai Luo at one time. Even with Violet's backdoor, Bai Luo still spent 25,000 magic elements. Combined with the original magic elements, the wolf leader Xinjia directly evolved from the original individual C and level to the high level A level. Then 763 are the remaining 18 wolves. They have all broken through the 14,000 magic element mark and become true A-level monsters. This is a total of 180,000 magic elements, and after the discount, it is a total of 90,000 magic elements. According to their racial characteristics, the Star Fang Wolf clan should be classified as orcs rather than the original wolf beasts. The orcs in the Axis world have the ability to transform into beasts, and can freely transform between the beast and orc states. Xinjia, as well as the other 18 leaders, all acquired this ability. Humanoid form, werewolf form, and the original giant wolf form. According to their needs, they can choose the lifestyle they like among these three states. So far, Bai Luo's magic power has dropped from 145,000 to 30,000. As for the remaining Garugas, originally, they were only C-class monsters. Only when they lived in groups could they improve their overall strength based on their inherent characteristics and reach a level comparable to that of B-class monsters. The group is the individual, and the individual is the group. The B-level monsters here do not mean that 500 wolves attack together and defeat one B and level monster. Rather, it means that as the number of Garo continues to increase, each Garo will be upgraded from C level to B level. Yes, 500 B-level monsters. This is the terrifying thing about the Garo monster group. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you're notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.